the Global Digital Security and Forensic GDSF International Webinar and Forum 2021, we would like to thank you for your participation in this event.
Seperti mana semua sedia maklum, webinar ini bolehlah diikuti di ruangan Facebook melalui link yang tertera di ruangan chat. Mohon kerjasama para peserta yang masih belum mendaftar untuk membuat pendaftaran di link yang telah disediakan di ruangan chat. Sijil penyertaan akan diberikan kepada para peserta yang telah mendaftar. Kerjasama dan sokongan anda amat dihargai. Bagi ahli MBOT, mohon untuk melengkapkan maklumat item 9 di borang pendaftaran bagi membolehkan pengumpulan data CPD dibuat. Semua rakaman video bolehlah ditonton di laman web Facebook MyFTMK atau laman web GDSF.
For your information, this webinar can be followed on Facebook via the link as shown in the chat room. For those who have not registered yet, please register through the link provided. Your cooperation is highly appreciated. Certificates of participation will be given to participants who have registered through the link provided. Your cooperation and support are highly appreciated. For members of MBOT, please complete the information required as shown in the chat room in order to obtain the CPD points. This video recording can be viewed on the MyFTMK Facebook page or on the GDSF website.
There is a wide range of undergraduate programs offered by the faculty to choose from. The faculty offers postgraduate programs for masters and PhD candidates as well.
Our faculty is home to one of the best equipped labs and studios among all universities in the country. We have about 50 labs which are equipped with the state-of-the-art technology in the area of computing and in media interactive. We also have several studios for photography, shooting and recording, as well as a mini theater. Well, each lab has an average of 36 workstations in order to ensure the application-oriented teaching and learning is applicable to our students.
Many lecturers had careers in the industry before transitioning into the academic world. On top of that, each of them possesses professional certificates like CCNA, CCNP, and MSCE, and Oracle Professional Certificates. So, the courses were never obsolete as it will be reviewed from time to time according to industrial practice.
Mohon kerjasama para peserta yang masih belum mendaftar untuk membuat pendaftaran di link yang disediakan di ruangan chat. Sijil penyertaan akan diberikan kepada para peserta yang telah mendaftar. Kerjasama dan sokongan anda semua amat dihargai. Bagi ahli MBOT, mohon untuk melengkapkan maklumat item 9 di borang pendaftaran bagi membolehkan pengumpulan mata CPD dibuat.
For those who have not registered yet, please register through the link provided. Your cooperation is highly appreciated. Certificates of participation will be given to participants who have registered through the link provided. Your cooperation and support are highly appreciated. For members of MBOT, please complete the information required as shown in the chat room in order to obtain the CPD points.
Minggu depan adalah hari yang penting buatku. Tapi, alah aku lambat.
Masuk cepat.
Aku akan buktikan pada semua orang program aku yang terhebat.
Giliran awak, Hakim. Hakim, jumpa saya di ofis. Saya nak awak siapkan projek awak. Now. Habiskan. Dana Hakim, teruskan usaha.
Kadang-kadang kita tidak sedar ramai yang memimpin kita sehingga berjaya. Bakat dan potensi dalam diri kita sebenarnya lebih jelas di mata orang lain. Assalamualaikum, Puan.
is a wide range of undergraduate programs offered by the faculty to choose from. The faculty offers postgraduate programs for masters and PhD candidates as well.
Our faculty is home to one of the best equipped labs and studios among all universities in the country. We have about 50 labs which are equipped with the state-of-the-art technology in the area of computing and in media interactive. We also have several studios for photography, shooting and recording, as well as a mini theater. But it has an average of 36 workstations in order to ensure the application-oriented teaching and learning is applicable to all students.
Many lecturers had careers in the industry before transitioning into the academic. On top of that, each of them possesses professional certificates like CCNA, CCNP, and MSCE, and Oracle Professional Certificates. So, the courses were never obsolete as it will be reviewed from time to time according to industrial practice.
Mohon kerjasama para peserta yang masih belum mendaftar untuk membuat pendaftaran di link yang disediakan di ruang chat. Sijil pernyataan akan diberikan kepada para peserta yang telah mendaftar. Kerjasama dan sokongan anda amat dihargai. Bagi ahli MBOT, mohon untuk melengkapkan maklumat item 9 di borang pendaftaran bagi membolehkan pengumpulan mata CPD dibuat.
For those who have not registered yet, please register through the link provided. Your cooperation is highly appreciated. Certificates of participation will be given to participants who have registered through the link provided. Your cooperation and support are highly appreciated. For members of MBOT, please complete the information required as shown in the chat room in order to obtain the CPD points.
Assalamualaikum dan selamat sejahtera kepada semua para peserta International Webinar and Forum Global Digital Security and Forensic in the New Norm 2021. Mencari timba si anak dara di bawah sarang burung tempua. Salam sembah pembuka bicara. Selamat datang untuk semua. Pihak penganjur ingin mengucapkan jutaan terima kasih di atas kesudian para peserta bersama kami di dalam webinar ini. Webinar ini adalah bertujuan untuk memberi pengetahuan mengenai isu-isu terkini berkenaan dengan keselamatan cyber dan forensik digital di dalam era COVID-19. Diharapkan perkongsian ilmu daripada pakar-pakar keselamatan cyber dan digital forensik dapat memberi manfaat kepada para peserta. Kami juga ingin mengucapkan terima kasih kepada semua rakan kerjasama yang terlibat di dalam penganjuran webinar ini. Antaranya, Kementerian Pengajian Tinggi, Kerajaan Negeri Melaka, National Forensic Science University, OIC CERT, Cyber Security Malaysia, Knife Arab University for Security Science dan lain-lain yang terlibat.
Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to all participants of the Global Digital Security and Forensics in the New Norm 2021 International Webinar and Forum. A little maiden looking for a pail underneath the weaver's nest. With a warm greeting, we begin the ceremony. Welcome to you all. As the organizing committee, we would like to thank to all participants for joining this webinar. This webinar aims to be a platform for knowledge sharing on the latest issues with regard to cybersecurity and digital forensics in the era of COVID-19. It is hoped that everybody will benefit from this webinar.
Untuk makluman semua, webinar ini akan dibahagikan kepada 3 sesi utama. Sesi pertama adalah keynote speaker yang akan melibatkan 2 orang wakil dari NFSU dan OIC CERT. Sesi kedua melibatkan forum yang akan dikendalikan sepenuhnya oleh Yang Berbahagia Profesor Datuk Dr. Teknologis Haji Syahrin bin Sahib, di mana ianya akan melibatkan 3 orang panel dari NFSU, wakil dari OIC CERT dan Cyber Security Malaysia. Dan sesi ketiga adalah persembahan montaj dan pelancaran Call for Book of Chapter.
Ladies and gentlemen, this webinar will be divided into 3 sessions. The first session will be a keynote speaker involving 2 representatives from NFSU and OIC CERT. The second session is a forum which will be conducted entirely by Yang Berbahagia Professor Datuk Technologist Dr. Syahrin bin Sahib, involving 3 panelists from NFSU, OIC CERT, and CSM. And the third session will be a presentation of video montage and the launch of the Call Book of chapters.
Sebarang persoalan pada sesi pertama dan sesi kedua, ianya bolehlah di-type dan dihantar melalui ruangan question and answer yang telah disediakan.
If you have any questions during session 1 and session 2, you can type in your questions through the question and answer space provided.
Bagi memberkati webinar ini, saya memohon jasa baik hadirin dan hadirat yang beragama Islam untuk membaca surah Al-Fatihah. Manakala bagi peserta lain, saya memohon untuk mendoakan kebaikan pada webinar yang diadakan. Al-Fatihah. Yang berbahagia, Profesor Teknologis Dr. Rabiah Ahmad, Dekan Fakulti Teknologi Maklumat dan Komunikasi, Universiti Teknikal Malaysia Melaka. Yang berbahagia, Profesor Datuk Dr. Teknologis Haji Syahrin bin Sahid, Pengurusi GDSF International Webinar and Forum 2021. Yang berusaha Profesor Madya Dr. Farag Rugani dari Institute of Forensic Science, National Forensic Science University NFSU, Janinagar, Gujarat. Yang berusaha Mr. Wajdi Muhammad Al-Kuliti, wakil dari OIC CERT. Yang berusaha Teknologis Muhammad Zabri Adil dari Cyber Security Malaysia. Yang berusaha Dr. Muhammad Ridwan Baharun, Ketua Jabatan Sistem dan Komunikasi Komputer, Fakulti Teknologi Maklumat dan Komunikasi. Ahli-ahli jawatankuasa GDSF Webinar and Forum 2021, Datuk-Datuk, Profesor Madya, Doktor, Ketua-Ketua Jabatan, rakan-rakan dari RPT di dalam dan di luar negara, rakan-rakan industri dan agensi, OIC CERT, Cyber Security Malaysia, Kerajaan Negeri Melaka, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan. Selamat datang ke GDSF International Webinar and Forum 2021, Anjuran Jabatan Sistem dan Komunikasi Komputer, Universiti Teknikal Malaysia Melaka.
Welcome to GDSF Webinar and Forum 2021, organized by the Department of Computer System and Communication, University Technical Malaysia Melaka.
Kita mulakan acara pada petang ini dengan mendengar ucapan alu-aluan dari Yang Berbahagia Dekan Fakulti Teknologi Maklumat dan Komunikasi, Profesor Dr. Teknologis Rabiah Ahmad. Dipersilakan.
To begin our event, we would like to invite the Dean of the Faculty of Information and Communication Technology, Professor T.S. Dr. Rabiah Ahmad, for her welcoming speech. Please welcome. Voice.
Thank you very much, Dr. Associate Professor Dr. Faisal and Dr. Faisal and Dr. Sheikh Faisal. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yang berbahagia Profesor Datuk Dr. Teknologi Haji Syahrin bin Sahid, Chairman of GDFS International Webinar and Forum 2021. Yang berusaha Profesor Madya Dr. Associate Professor Dr. Farag Rugani from Institute of Forensic Science, National Forensic Science University, NFSU, Gadinagar, Gujarat.
Okay.
Yang berusaha Mr. Wajdi Muhammad Al-Kuliti on behalf of OIC CERT. Yang berusaha Teknologis Muhammad Zabri Adil, Cyber Security Malaysia. Yang berusaha Dr. Muhammad Ridwan Baharum, Head of Department Computer System and Networking, FTMK UTM, FTMK Management Team, GDSF Webinar and Forum 2021 Committee, Datuk Professor, Associate Professor, Doctor, Head of Department, Friends from Higher Education and Agency, OIC CERT, Cybersecurity Malaysia, and Malacca State's governments, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and dear all. Alhamdulillah, all praises are to Allah, the Merciful, the All-Beneficent, by whose grace and blessing have enabled us to gather here for the International Webinar and Forum 2021 entitled Global Digital Security and Forensics, GDSF, in the New Norm. On behalf of the Faculty of Information and Communication Technology, University Technical Malaysia Melaka, and the GDSF Committee, may I extend a warm welcome to all and everyone to this International Webinar and Forum 2021. Distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, Alhamdulillah, I would like to congratulate to the members of the Department of Computer System and Communications for organizing this international webinar with our collaborators from the National Forensic Science University Gadinaga, OIC, and Cybersecurity Malaysia. Congratulations also to all participants from local and outside Malaysia for attending this webinar in the COVID-19 pandemic. As we can see now, the COVID-19 pandemic has completely changed our life. Take something as fundamental as our experiences of space. Our mobility has become severely restricted. Many seminars was conducted via face-to-face, but now seminars conducted via online with a high technology. Distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, the event is aimed at fostering the global cybersecurity and digital forensics in the new norm through international cooperation among collaborators. For your information, this event itself provides unique session focusing on digital forensic and cybersecurity current issues and challenges. This session brings together speakers from National Forensic Science, University Gadinaga, India, and he will give his keynote about the forensic teaching and training in pandemic states as our first keynote speakers this afternoon. Thank you to Associate Professor Dr. Farag Rugani for willing to accept our invitation. Second speaker, Mr. Wajdi Homed Al-Kuliti from OIC. He will give his keynote about the hard security in the new norm. And again, also thank you to Brother Wajdi for accepting our invitation. Ladies and gentlemen, beside the keynote speaker, we have panel discussion that will discuss an opportunity to exchange ideas and experience, diverse expertise and organization working on global digital security and forensic in the new norm. The moderator to this panel discussion is the head of Cybersecurity Competence Center and the former of UTM Vice Chancellor, Professor Datuk Technologist Dr. Charin Sahib. For panel discussion, we have three panelists, Associate Professor Dr. Farag Rugani from National Forensic Science, University Gadinaga, Mr. Wajdi Homed Al-Kuliti from OIC, and Technologist Muhammad Zabri Adel Talib from Cybersecurity Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, UTM is the first technical public university in Malaysia and was established on the 1st November 2000. As a focus university, UTM's strength is in technical fields, namely engineering technology, ICT, and management technology. UTM has cemented a reputation of being a source of high-quality engineering, ICT, and management technology graduates with the capability of meeting the requirements of high-tech industries. UTM also has research competency in areas that it has identified as being key to enhancing the university unique propositions and also contributes to the nation, such as green technology, system engineering, human technology interaction, and emerging technology. Faculty of Information and Communication Technology FTMK was one of the earliest formed faculty at College University Technical Kebangsaan Malaysia KUTKM on the 1st December 2000. The faculty started to operate on 22nd June 2001 with its pioneer batch of students of academic session 2001-2002. Since 1st February 2007, KUTKM is known as University Technical Malaysia Melaka. FTMK established 5 departments that are Department of Software Engineering, Department of Computer System and Communication, Department of Interactive Media, Department of Intelligent Computing and Analytics, and Department of Diploma Studies. We offer 1 Diploma Computer Science, Diploma in Computer Science. We offer 7 degree programs in Computer Science and IT, 18 master's programs, 1 PhD, and also Doctor of IT. For your information, 2 bachelor programs are offered under the Department of Computer System and Communication, which are Bachelor Computer Science, Computer Networking, and Bachelor Computer Science, Computer Security. While the computer security subject in the core subject that students from other programs required to take. Before leaving the university, students are required to sit for their professional certification, where computer security students that are required to sit for Global East certification. Ladies and gentlemen, currently at FTMK, we have established 2 research labs funded by MOHE, CSM, MOSTI, and MITI. The labs are Coordinated Malware Eradication and Remediation Project and Cybersecurity Competence Center Laboratory. Much research conducted with our collaborators and agency related to security and other computer science or information technology project. I'm very happy that you are joining with us in this international webinar and forum to update your knowledge on the latest development in digital security and forensic. Finally, thank you for joining us, and I pray to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala that this international webinar and forum 2021 will give a new knowledge and positive direction to us, especially related to digital security and forensic. Be blessed with success by Him, Almighty Allah Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Thank you.
Terima kasih Yang Berbahagia Dekan atas ucapan sebentar tadi.
We would like to thank the Dean for the welcome speech.
Sesi pertama kita pada petang ini dimulakan dengan menjemput Yang Berusaha Profesor Madya Dr. Parag Rugani dari NFSU untuk memberikan perkongsian dan pengalaman beliau berhubung dengan Forensic Teaching and Training in Pandemic State.
Our first session today will begin with a sharing session by Associate Professor Dr. Parag Rugani from NFSU to share his experience related to forensics teaching and training in pandemic state.
Sebelum itu, izinkan saya untuk menyampaikan ringkasan latar belakang Profesor Madya Dr. Parag Rugani. Beliau merupakan Profesor Madya di dalam Digital Forensik dan Keselamatan Maklumat di Institut Sains Forensik, University Sains Forensik Nasional, Gandhinagar, Gujarat, India.
Before we begin, let me introduce the biography of Associate Professor Dr. Parag Rugani. Associate Professor Dr. Parag Rugani is an Associate Professor in Digital Forensics and Information Security at the Institute of Forensic Science, National Forensic Sciences University, NFSU, Gandhinagar in Gujarat. He holds a PhD in Computer Science. He has extensive experience in academics and research both nationally and internationally. His research area focuses on digital forensics, malware analysis, memory forensics, and IoT forensics. He has extensively attended and delivered many talks on various topics within his area of expertise and research, both locally and abroad.
Tanpa berlengah masa, saya menjemput Yang Berusaha Profesor Madya Dr. Parag Rugani untuk menyampaikan perkongsian beliau yang bertajuk Forensic Teaching and Training in Pandemic State. Dipersilakan.
Without undue delay, we would like to invite Associate Professor Dr. Parag Rugani to deliver his sharing entitled Forensics Teaching and Training in Pandemic State. Please welcome.
Thank you for kind words and the introduction. I will like to thank the organizers for this event to giving me an opportunity to share my knowledge in the area. So I will not take a long time. Give me a minute to share my screen. I assume that the screen is visible and you can hear me. If anyone can please confirm.
Yes, that's loud and clear.
Great, thank you. So good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dr. Parag Rugani, as introduced by the coordinators. So my topic will be forensic teaching and training in pandemic state. I'll go through some slides. First of all, I'm representing the National Forensic Sciences University, which was earlier it was known as the Gujarat Forensic Sciences University, and it is located in India. It was established in 2009, and within the span of 11 years, the state university has been elevated as the central and the national entity and institution of national importance by the government of India. This is the only university in the world that is dedicated to forensic and allied sciences. So when I say only university, it means that we do not have any other programs except forensic science. So our mandate is to impart the training, teaching, and conduct research in the areas of forensic and allied sciences. We do offer more than 50 different programs in the fields of forensic science and allied sciences, ranging from the traditional forensic science to the cybersecurity, nanotechnology, and a lot. We are having two campuses at this stage. One is at Gandhinagar and the other one is at Delhi. The Gandhinagar campus is, you can see it on the screen. It's located in the green city. It's the capital of Gujarat in India. Gujarat is a state. And we are working from here. This is my headquarters. So agenda for today's meeting would be this. I would talk briefly on the COVID-19 pandemic. We will quickly go through the other topics, and then I would like to focus more on best practices, followed by the question and answer. So as we know, the COVID-19 pandemic has created an unprecedented situation in the world, and the whole world was under the threat of this infectious disease. So it started in, it was declared, officially declared from 30th January by WHO, and it's almost 1 year and 8 months since this is going on. As we know, majority of the countries, they were under complete lockdown, and it has so far affected more than 230 million. As per the research and survey statistics available on the internet and the other resources, it says that more than 230 million have been reported to be infected by this, and almost 4.2 million probably have died because of COVID-19. Now, one of the major affected sector was education, or it's still education that is the most affected education. Now, I think there is some background noise of some birds, so please excuse me for that. One of the most affected sector was education, because it was one of the things which nations are thinking seriously, like converting the whole education system into the virtual mode was, of course, a difficult task. So then came the online education or virtual things. So that was the only option all the countries had. Like they did not have anything apart from that. So that was something where they can rely upon and then they can continue the education. So virtual classrooms had been started. The available tools like WebEx, which we are using here, Zoom, Teams from Microsoft, Google Meet, and they were the options which have evolved. If we observe the timeline, then the Google Meet, which was there before pandemic and which is available at this moment, or Zoom or WebEx, they evolved as the best tool for as the proper tools for the conducting classroom teaching and conducting meetings. So they have also based on this. I think someone has raised hand. So is there any question? So that was the reason like everyone shifted to the in this pandemic. So what are the challenges in this particular online learning and training? So we'll see the challenges from two perspectives. All of us are um, aware about this because either of us, like we are in the training field or teaching field, or someone in our family is learning. So we will see it from learner's perspective and the trainer's perspective. So some of the challenges which I could identify and which I could note down are listed here. So the first thing which was missing from the learner's perspective was the classroom environment. It is said that the physical classrooms or one-to-one teaching or offline teaching is always has an impact on the study. When it's a virtual classroom, you miss that environment. The major problem which I have also noticed, and the students they keep updating, they keep telling us that sir, we are not able to concentrate, we have issue and concentrating during the class, even after the class. So lack of concentration because of lot of distraction around, like if a person is attending the class from the mobile phone, then most of the time if there is a notification for WhatsApp or something else comes on, the student gets distracted for those things. So a lot of issues are there in terms of the concentration, the stressed environment. This has been observed during the peak of the COVID-19 in different regions of the world. Like if it's not the person who is I know uh, uh, who is not well or who is suffering from COVID, but there could be the family members, they are affected or infected, or some neighbors are infected when they listen or when they read in the newspaper they have the the unwanted stress, and that stressed environment also affect their concentration and their study. A difficulty in understanding concepts because they cannot understand and they cannot concentrate. They cannot discuss freely. It has been observed in many of my classes that when the physical classes are conducted, the students, they are very comfortable in discussing their points, suggesting or like sharing their ideas, asking the questions. But when it's a virtual classroom, most of the students, they try to remain silent and they try to remain on mute. So that is another reason. Once you don't discuss the concept, once you don't share your thoughts and ideas or
positif kan, lepas tu cuti ke apa?
ask questions, it would be difficult for you to
Ada budak
concentrate.
itu dia dah quarantine.
So they cannot see the trainers, they cannot see the classmates, and that is also one of the major affecting factor in this whole issue. Like they once they see the trainer, once they see the classmates, there is a different feeling, different
Tadi dah
presence.
minta maaf.
The internet connectivity has been a major issue in many regions, specifically when we talk about the developing countries or the countries which are still developing or underdeveloped countries. Internet has been a major issue, and the study and the data says that some of the tools which have better quality, better resolution, they lack, they consume a lot of bandwidth. So, it's something which is because of the infrastructure laid down in the country and because of the availability of the internet. Because COVID-19 came all of a sudden and people did not have time to establish all the resources. So internet connectivity had been a technical challenge from the learner's perspective also. Availability of computer or smartphone, it has been observed specifically when I talk about India, where we have more than 1.3 billion people living in the whole country. There had been a specific group of people who could not afford or who did not have computer or smartphones, and that was one of the biggest issue for the institutes and for the parents, that how to manage this virtual classrooms and virtual learning. There was another major issue that was found from the study is that in many families there are 2-3 children. So many times the children need to share their device because they have only one computer or one phone. So they need to share that device with their siblings, and in such cases you cannot manage the timings. So there was some guidelines and instructions that looking at the internet connectivity, looking at the availability of the devices, the institutions may not keep the schedule for more than 3 hours per day, which would restrict the timeline for the institutions. But on the other hand, the learners can share their device and the bandwidth can be managed. So that is again a big concern. Increased screen time, that is related to health. I just want to confirm, do I need to answer the questions in between, or it will be at the end of the session if moderator can suggest?
We'll give you 10 minutes after finish your presentation.
Okay, thank you. Now, when we talk about the trainer's perspective, I like this particular incident which happened in February 2021, where a Singapore-based professor of mathematics, he delivered the talk or session for 2 hours, and then he realized that he was on mute. So there are a lot of challenges for the trainers also. These are a few of them. Some of them are very common, like the classroom environment. The teachers, as being a teacher, I am missing that board work. The way you can explain using the board and the way you can demonstrate the things in class, these things are not easily, they cannot be done easily in the virtual classroom. Lack of concentration from learners. Many times it has been realized that when you are delivering a talk, you are not aware what is going on there on the other side, and once the students, they don't understand one concept, they can't concentrate properly. The things in sequence also get affected. The stressed environment is at both the places. Teacher and his family, or trainer and his family is affected, or probably has something going on in surrounding area, and the other hand, the learner also. The majority of the teachers face the problem of difficulty in explaining the concepts, though the things can be explained very well in the physical classroom. The same thing cannot be done in the virtual classroom. They can't discuss freely. Specifically, the teachers cannot see students and their reactions. So if I'm delivering the class, I am not able to see whether they are receiving the content, whether they are getting the concept and idea, and whether they are grasping or not, and whether if they are not able to understand, then in the physical classes, physical classrooms, you can easily see their reactions, and then you can decide whether you need to re-explain it or not. The internet connectivity at the institution level also had been an issue. It's still an issue. Lack of technical resources. Many institutions have observed and have felt that the requirement of technical resources for conducting online classes were not adequate, and due to that, they had a lot of issues in arranging the classes, scheduling the classes, and managing the available technical resources. When we talk about the trainers, those who are from the computer background or those who are having the computer expertise, they did not have a lot of issues. But many of the non-IT teachers and trainers, they had a lot of issues in becoming acquainted with the latest technologies, like how to use Cisco WebEx or how to use Zoom or any other tool, and how to use the whiteboard facility available, or how to share the screen, how to create a PPT, a presentation, or how to create videos, and so on. So these are a few challenges. There are a lot of other challenges, but I am keeping it limited to this many. So these are the common challenges which have been experienced in the training and teaching all over the world. But as the theme of this workshop or the event is related to forensic teaching and training, these are some of the important points which I could draw and which I could put here. So forensic itself is a highly unique field of study. Like it's quite different than the other fields of study. Here it requires a high level of precision. It's not something like if you are doing a practical in the routine or traditional courses, you may have the trial and errors multiple times, and then you can perform the practical a lot of time. And if there is a small mistake or something is there, then it's not highly effective. Sorry. But it heavily relies on practical and field work. The equipment and software which are used for this type of investigations and forensics, they are costly. They are highly costly, and they cannot be purchased at the learner's end. Like if there is a mobile phone, the learner can purchase the mobile phone. But if there is an equipment which costs even thousands of dollars, it cannot be managed by the learner. The other reason, other limitation is lack of experts and trainers in this field. The whole world is now moving towards the forensic science and its technologies and domain and subdomains. But still, there is a dearth of experts and trainers who can deliver good training. There is another requirement of this field is that apart from the students, this field needs the in-service officers to be trained. Those who are already in service, they also need to be upgraded, and they also need to be acquainted with the latest technologies and latest methods for committing crime. Increase in high-tech crimes. With the COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of high-tech crimes have been noticed, and in any of the crimes, if you see, may be a murder or any other offense, like rap or robbery or anything, there is an involvement of technology. And so getting acquainted with the technology and solving crimes where this type of technologies are involved is also a challenge. And for that, the training, constant continuous training needs to be imparted. The major problem is in single sentence, if we say that it's the problem of conducting practical sessions in the online mode. So what are the best practices? Some of this which we adopt and which I would like to recommend, because when we say that it's a pandemic and you do not have any other alternate, you have to rely on the virtual classes. You cannot afford to call the students on campus. You have to arrange some alternatives, and you have to make the things interactive and interesting. So the first thing is interactive classes. Though I have limited time, otherwise I also follow the strategy to ask questions on regular interval to make sure that the students are connected and they are having they are in line with you whenever you are discussing. Involve them in the discussion. Ask them to unmute themselves and discuss. Though there are challenges in that, many participants, many learners, they say that my mic is not working, my camera is not working. But if even 60, 70%, 80% students, they keep starting speaking, the others will also join them. So this would be one of the interesting stuff to do, like having an interactive class. The one observation which I personally has realized, and which is there on the internet also, if you see the certificate courses offered by many good agencies, they keep the sessions very short. Now, this is something kind of conflict with the previous slide. When you want to have interaction and involvement, you need to keep the sessions long. But when I say short sessions of the things you want to communicate, the stuff that you want to communicate, the topic that you want to discuss. Don't go at a length. Don't keep discussing the things from your end only. You can talk for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then let the others speak and have some discussion on that. The short sessions help the learners in concentrating, because there is a class of 1 hour. It has been observed that after 5, 10, 15 minutes, the students, they lose their interest, and then they start moving towards other things. Recorded video lectures have been very effective in many cases, as it is observed that it gives them, it gives a flexibility and an option to the stuff like that. To the user to learn at its pace. So these are going to be self-paced learning. Sorry for the interruption. So this recorded video lectures, they could be watched at any time. They could be watched multiple times also by the users or by the learners when there is something going on, and when they are preparing for their exams, or when they are not clear, they can replay the video and then they can learn or have an idea about the concept which was discussed. When we talk about the digital crimes and digital forensics or cyber forensics, at this juncture of time, we prefer to use free and open source software. Like if I use any commercial software, I would not be in position to give access to that software to all of my students. So as being a digital forensic teacher, I insist my students to use free and open source software, which could be downloaded easily by the students, so they can download, they can install at their end with low configuration machines also, and then they can perform the practicals. So which will motivate them, which will encourage them, and the interest will be maintained in the study. When we give them some assignment, or when we give them some practical, or when we demonstrate something, and when we request the learners to do things by themselves, they should be provided sufficient documentation and material, step-by-step guide with the screenshots or with the photographs to make them understand how the practical or how the things can be performed at their end. If they cannot have the availability of the tools, at least they can have a pictorial representation to see how the practicals can be performed. Group activities, it may not be applicable in all the topics and all the subjects, but it has been proved to be one of the methodologies for attracting the students and involving them in the study. So group activities has also been considered to be one of the important pedagogy. Case studies, when we discuss about the forensics specifically, there would be an interesting activity to do is to discuss the case studies, and then to ask the students to share their ideas and opinion or their thinking about a particular case. So what we do generally is we discuss a case, and then we ask the students, like, if there is a case of ransomware, what could be the places from where you can find the artifacts? So you ask the student, and then the students or the learners, they do some brainstorming at their end, and then they come up with the ideas. You can always divide them into the teams, and then you can get the inputs from them. Now, when we talk about these techniques which I explained in the last few minutes, all of them are kind of traditional techniques which can be translated into the virtual environment. But apart from that, there is new technologies, the advanced technologies which are coming up these days. Specifically, it's augmented reality or virtual reality or mixed reality or animation, simulation, etc. Now, these technologies have become so much easily available. Like your mobile phone also comes, your smartphone also comes with the AR, augmented reality features. So you can easily use that in that case. So this is an example where the augmented reality can be seen. This is another example where the AR-based software or AR-based solutions can be used to train the students and to make them. This is virtual reality where the boy is wearing the glass, and that helps him in visualizing the concept in 3D, and it gives a feel, it gives an environment where the students and learners feel that they are actually in the laboratory. When we talk about the forensics and crime investigation or the crime scene management or crime scene investigation, there are some tools which give you an idea. And this is mainly a simulation-based virtual reality solution, which can be used by the learners in the physical lab, but it also can be used by them in the from their place also within the limited environment and with the few important features, though it could be highly costly. Regular assessment and evaluation to ensure that the students they are in line with the study that is being imparted and the content that is being delivered. A short quiz or a small quiz for regular assessment and evaluation would be highly effective, because once the student gets the idea and the concept clear by the way of the online learning, he would become confident and will have better idea about the knowledge he has acquired once he appears in the exam and once the assessment is done. So these are a few references. I think I have already taken 30 minutes. I'm not sure how much time I have, but if there is anything I would like to get some questions.
Actually, you have 5 more minutes actually.
Okay, I closed it early, isn't it? Okay. So these are a few references I would open the forum for, because I was seeing that I think it's 246 there in Malaysia, so I was going with the 240. Anyway, so I have done with the slides. If there is anything important that needs to be addressed by the participants, if there are questions, we can take them. I don't see any questions.
Terima kasih Yang Berusaha Prof. Masa Madya, Dr. Farag Rugani atas perkongsian yang menarik dan bermanfaat sebentar tadi.
Thank you, Associate Professor Dr. Farag Rugani, for the wonderful sharing. We would like to remind, for those who have any question, please type in your question in the Q&A space provided. Okay, now I would like to forward the question from the Q&A space for the keynote speaker to answer.
Yeah, please.
Okay, there is one question. Okay, can you recommend any dynamic digital forensics tools that can be used in teaching and learning or the training of future cybercrime investigators, given that most education is now based on e-learning? Okay, I repeat. Can you recommend any dynamic digital forensic tools that can be used in teaching and learning or the training of future cybercrime investigators, given that most education is now based on e-learning?
Okay, so I see two aspects here in the question. The first aspect is the requirement of the tool to address the pandemic and to use it during the online teaching. And the second one says that the emerging cyber crimes and the other things. So what we do personally, as I said, that we recommend the free software. So I personally use SleuthKit Autopsy, which is one good software available for freely to download. And the advantage is that it's a kind of lightweight tool compared to the NKs and FTK or the other tools which we are using, which are commercial, which may not be accessible easily. So the SleuthKit Autopsy is something which is highly recommendable at this stage because it also comes with the advanced features like, it has a lot of evolutions going on, a lot of new things are coming up in that tool, and it's been free. A lot of community experts are also supporting it. So it also supports mobile, it also supports some of the ways which are there and which are based on the artificial intelligence to to investigate the high-tech crimes and the emerging crimes also. So I personally would like to recommend the SleuthKit Autopsy. However, there are small utilities available in the market which can be used as the alternate. But in that case, you need to use those utilities separately and then combine the results. But for the training and teaching purpose, the SleuthKit Autopsy is sufficient. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Parek. Okay, there's another question. The question is, what are the main challenges in teaching or training digital forensics in the new norm, as we know that digital forensic investigation skills are best taught and tried in the academic and laboratories in a structured and controlled environment? Okay, I repeat again.
Yeah, please.
What are the main challenges in the teaching and training digital forensics in the new norm, as we know that the digital forensic investigation skills are best taught and tried in the academic and laboratories in a structured and controlled environment?
Yes. So the major challenge, as I said, is conducting the practicals and giving the exposure to the real case scenarios, as you said, structured and controlled environment. So it's not there when we are doing it in online mode. The maximum or the best possible thing which can be done is to simulate the experiment, to record the video of the experiment. Like if I have to explain a disk imager or disk copier, I may not be in the condition to give access to the students so that they can physically see that hardware, how it works. You attach the storage devices and then you get the acquisition done. This particular thing is not possible in virtual classes. So in such cases, I need to create a video or I need to explain it in some video that this is how things could happen. This is how you can use this hardware, or this is how you can use the software. This is how the whole process takes place from the acquisition till the final report generation. So all these things can be simulated at the best possible way, but the major challenge is the students, they don't get hands-on, they don't get the tangible thing in their hand, and they cannot experience that thing. They cannot take part in the whole process, which could have been done with the mock drills or mock-ups or different types of simulated crime scenes. So you can always imagine that the person cannot go on the physical crime scene. He just has to think that this could be the same thing. So the learners are forced to imagine that this is how things could happen, and that is the major challenge from my point of view.
Okay, we have a third question. Okay, how can we ensure packet sending over the network is safe for teaching online?
So the technology remains the same. The purpose could be for financial transaction, for academics, or for any other purpose. Like the security implemented by the network protocols, by the receiver and sender end, and by the transmission itself has to be the same, because we are using the computer, same smartphones, and same network to transmit the data. So if you are are using a secure channel, SSL based channel, HTTPS, then you can ensure that the packets which are being transmitted over the network are encrypted, and if there is an end-to-end encryption, then there is something which can ensure that things are safe. I think this question is pertaining to and specifically addressing, specifically related to the assessment and fees or for the sensitive data. So in such cases, I personally recommend to use the in-house servers if it can be afforded by the organization, or to rely on any reliable servers where they ensure the security. But from the educator's point of view, from the institution's point of view, you have to rely on the technology. And when you ensure that the technology is safe, it would be safe for all type of transmissions, as I say.
Okay, I think this will be the last question. Do you conduct mock-up trial in NFSU?
Yes, we do create mock crime scenes. We do also have some mock practicals for digital forensics, where we create a digital crime scene, and then we let the learners to go and explore the things by themselves. This is mostly done in 2 phases during the training at the time of assessment. So most of the times we prefer to assess the students and learners by giving them a practical task assignment where they have to go and work on a particular crime, scene of crime.
Terima kasih Prof. Madya, Dr. Parag Rugani.
Okay, we would like to thanks again to Associate Professor Dr. Parag Rugani.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Seterusnya, saya menjemput penceramah kedua, Saudara Wajdi Muhammad Al-Kuliti, yang akan berkongsi ilmu yang bertajuk Hajj Security in New Norm.
Now we would like to invite our second speaker, Mr. Wajdi Muhammad Al-Kuliti, for his knowledge sharing entitled Hajj Security in New Norm.
Saudara Wajdi Muhammad Al-Kuliti merupakan bekas penasihat kepada Setiausaha Umum OIC bagi transformasi digital, pembangunan dan perancangan strategik, dan bekas pengarah Jabatan IT di OIC.
Mr. Wajdi Muhammad Al-Kuliti is a former advisor to the OIC Secretary General for Digital Transformation, Development and Strategic Planning. He is also a former director of the IT department at the OIC.
Tanpa melengahkan masa, saya menjemput Saudara Wajdi untuk menyampaikan perkongsian ilmu beliau yang bertajuk Hajj Security in New Norm. Dipersilakan.
Now, without undue delay, we invite Mr. Wajdi to deliver his sharing. Hajj Security in New Norm. Please welcome.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, everyone. I would like to take this opportunity and thank UTM and His Excellency Dr. Shaheen Sohaib and Dr. Rabi Ahmad and all organizers for this significant forum. I hope that I will be able to provide a valuable knowledge and experience to this important forum. Do you hear me now?
Yes, okay.
Yes,
please.
you may proceed.
Okay. This is the agenda of our presentation today. So during this presentation, I will highlight on a different efforts that conducted by Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in response for a COVID-19 pandemic, especially from digital perspective and cybersecurity. And then I will proceed also to high point on why Saudi Arabia were well prepared to achieve overwhelming succession on combating the pandemic and applied best technology practices and still improving. As first, I would like to thank also Dr. Bagani for his magnificent presentation. And also he mentioned valuable information and experience and best practices. And I like his presentation. It was fully with pictures, and it attract me to be concentrated all the time. And I wish mine is not boring you, because most of it is written text, because I would like to make it like a reference for colleagues when they return to the information. And I hope I share good information with you. As all you know, that the global COVID pandemic has had a crucial effect on the people and systems and economies, livelihoods, also health and governments around the world. Millions of enterprises face huge threats that make pressurize all the countries to accelerating their efforts to find solution. So therefore, this lead country to step up and take a crucial decision to maintain and balance their protection of its people health and saving its business and the life matters at the same time. So technology is where the best players in this circumstances, also to provide, in my opinion, win-win during the pandemic, at least with the least damage, in the business, and to protect and people health, while avoid like severe damage in the economic. And some practices mentioned by Dr. Bagani that it's practiced in India. We saw some challenges also there, and I think it's there is some another scenarios happening in Africa. Also, it was was like similar to this scenario, especially for the families have several students in the house, with a lack of some infrastructure to provide it for all family. Saudi Arabia digital response to this pandemic honestly was very active, and we were lucky. Saudi Arabia of its readiness of the infrastructures, and there is a very fit and strict risk management plans in the institution. That's what they give Saudi Arabia upper hand, to act immediately and efficiently, during the pandemic, from the early days, of the COVID-19. The impacts of the COVID-19 accelerate the remote work. In addition, applying several applications to control and preventing spreading the pandemic. This lead, the ministries and institutions in the government to take action, based on some scenarios that it was, practiced very well in the government. While Saudi Arabia, it's had something in 2009. It was a similar, pandemic. It's called MERS. That it's a camel corona. That it's first, start in Saudi Arabia, and that it makes Saudi Arabia has like a small scenario of corona in Saudi Arabia, And during that time, from 2009, Saudi Arabia has many plans, working in similar scenario, if that repeated or if it's spread around Saudi Arabia. That's its gift, like, Saudi Arabia, some real practice scenario was happening in Saudi Arabia. It's make it like when the coronavirus come, Saudi Arabia just enhancing some practice scenarios that they use in their risk management plan, and that's it's give us like it seems we have the same scenario and repeated, but with a larger scale. So the Hajj security, it was one of the biggest challenge to Saudi government, especially in the pandemic COVID-19. And the season of Hajj usually is the pilgrims is more than 2.5 million. They came and they gathering in the same area for 3 days, and then they move back to their country. And if that's, it was impossible, to have it like a regular Hajj. So it's the Saudi government, based on the communication with all Islamic world, and all the Islamic world was understanding, what's happening. And if Saudi Arabia open for Hajj, it will be hub for gathering people, and they get infected and separated again, and they get back to their country. So as I mentioned, one of the biggest challenge that were in the table of Saudi government to secure the Hajj season during the pandemic, and balancing between the Hajj rituals and safety of all pilgrims. Honestly, here in Saudi Arabia, when they said, they lock and they close the Haramain, and they reduce the Hajj number for first year is like 1,000, and for last year 60,000. Most of the family here, I think, and also all Muslims the world, where it's like something is like make us very sad. So the families here, it was a huge crying time, especially when we hear that especially the Haramain is closed, and that was hard action, but it was essential to protect people and deal with the pandemic in right way. So so the government by Ministry of Hajj and Umrah relies on smart systems to facilitate Hajj rituals. These systems provided to ease the Hajj and guarantee the safety of everyone. So this system was applied, but during the pandemic, they upgraded and matched it for the COVID-19. They start two electronic e-track, one for external pilgrims and one for domestic. Yeah, for the external one, the electronic track was care about, from A to Z, like caring about the registration for housing, transportation, starting for the point from departure from the origin country for Hajj until back to his country. All that it was managed by applications and by this electronic track, and all it was determined for all Hajj. The all Hajj, they have like a smartwatch, like Apple Watch, and that it was programmed and tied with all electronic track that help all Hajj to perform their ritual. So for the domestic one, it was easier, honestly, because almost Saudi Arabia is a digital and smart government, and because all the data of the citizen and the residents of Saudi Arabia, it's make the track it's very easy because it links with the Ministry of Health, and that makes sure also that all the Hajj from domestic, especially was matching the criteria of the Ministry of Health with the 2 vaccines and is completely take the PCR, and the other, the challenge it was for the external one, that the coordinating with their country with the different criteria from different countries and different vaccines, that makes Saudi Arabia also involved in the vaccines and help some countries, and, to match this criteria from the beginning. Some measures take, because there is something they call it in the rule that they apply for Hajj, they call it bubbles. This bubbles contain of 20 Haji. Each Haji is, in his watch, he has a different color. This different color that is in different line, that match the line they circulating around Kaaba or moving to Mina or during even the Umrah. That is like scheduled with time, and that is combined with the 50 well-trained health officers and police officers, all that they take care of the Haji. Alhamdulillah, both Hajj during the pandemic is registered zero infection with this coronavirus. Also, there is a Hajj community that it's well-trained scouts that for different languages and many things, they know it and they have experience in this. They involved in this Hajj to make, easier for the pilgrims and zero mistakes, and, for, any Hajj to be, like, to be infected by corona or for any other hazard, that it might, offers them. There is many preventive, measures, especially in food. Usually the food in Hajj, it was a buffet, but in this one, it was completely registered through, like waiting line. Just he get his meal, by text message come to the watch, and he get his food without, with a distance between the other, Haji, like 3 meters from behind and front. This is one of the example of digital apps available for healthcare and Hajj domains. It's best practices of Saudi Arabia that invented and made by the government. We do have here this main application that is completely helped during the pandemic. If you can see here in 4 phases here, we have 2 applications, Maw'id and Sahati. This is for digital screening. This is its help, to take, like appointment, and even for if you need, if you have symptoms of corona, or you feel something like the international WHO organization, that's, Sahati. It's you can contact directly face by face with the doctor and can tell you that you go to take appointment to make a PCR, or just he examine you like virtually. Second phase is the surveillance one. It's called Hassan. It means fortify. And Taqassi, that mean you're looking for is a tracing, patient tracing unit. This is like a database for an accredited one for the government and for the institution to get all information regarding confirmed cases of corona in the country. Phase 3 is a contact notification. This is one of the best application that apply. And honestly speaking, it was a funny things in Saudi Arabia, this application, because this is called taba'ud. That means, it make distance between you and the other one. That's its taba'ud application. If you have corona, that means the status in your mobile, it will change in other application, and it will give a bleep if that one has a corona or he out of the quarantine. And for certain time, some teenage, they try to imitate the ringtone, and they make this bleep, just to, after curfew, they make you just feel, that they have corona and just suspicious, especially in the early days. But it was a very helpful application. The phase 4, it was the follow-up. It's تطمن, that is make sure, and توكلنا. تطمن also, it's kind of quarantine and isolation individual that they hit by corona or infected, and it's give you like a countdown quarantine days, and after that it's tie you with the صحتي, the first application that you contact with the doctor to check, and then you take another PCR to change your status in توكلنا application. This is another application, but this is including between third party and government. The famous one is Tamarna and Manasikna. Also, I'll back to Tawakkalna because Tawakkalna is like a success story. I will, give it like one individual slide about Tawakkalna. But at Tamarna, you cannot go straight forward to take Umrah. You should, book your Umrah for residents and for the citizen, even for the, who come for Umrah from outside, but that is through the hotel and package, they will do a book for you. You cannot go straight forward to do a prayer or take Umrah unless you book your Umrah on time, and for 3 hours, you have only 3 hours to do your Umrah, and you do the other rituals for that. And also you book your bus tickets and everything from this application, because this application is your checkpoint for that you are booked, and you will check, there is a checkpoint also, they check you are booked Umrah, and at the same time they will check your status in Tawakkalna. Tawakkalna, I'm really proud, to talk about this application in Saudi Arabia. Tawakkalna is one of the innovative approach to be accredited application to be utilized in Saudi Arabia, and we see that the innovation non-stop of this application. Number of users now in this application Tawakkalna here in Saudi Arabia exceeding 23 million users. There is more than 25 strategic partner from outside and inside, especially some institutions and third party. It's offer more than 100 services to citizens and residents here in Saudi Arabia. Also, it's available in over 75 countries around the world. Tawakkalna is the first application that is tie their medical passport with the IATA organization, that any Saudi or any resident in Saudi Arabia want to travel, they can just open the medical passport through Tawakkalna, and they can travel based on the IATA rule for the new regulation for the traveling during this day. Tawakkalna is the official Saudi contact tracing app approved by Ministry of Health to prevent the spread of coronavirus. It is also used to verify and provide proof of vaccine status of each one here in Saudi Arabia, that you get your 2 vaccine, and you have always active barcode and green. Without this, you cannot enter mall, you cannot go to your work, you cannot attending any gathering or stadiums. If you don't show your Tawakkalna status, you will be not allowed to enter any place, and that's is mandatory for even the students now. They go to school, they daily they scan their Tawakkalna in the main gate, and they go to their office, their classes. Tawakkalna, considered like e-identity of the citizen and residents here. It's complete e-portfolio for your driving license, for your documents, for your education, users for your kids, your your family status, your medical appointments. I cannot, it's many things. I put the reference of Tawakkalna and link in the reference. If you want to see what Tawakkalna has provided to honestly, that it's is our life. Even during the curfew, it was you taking like 1 hour walking. You start from your location and you walk in the walk area, while the apps is give you if there is any check from the police point or other the responsible for checking the health status. You will it will show that you are active in this hour for walking out, and this is in early days during the curfew, and I hope inshallah we don't see these days again. Behind this achievement of Saudi Arabia, there is huge work has happened. Saudi Arabia, it's second, is ranked second globally, and first in Arab world and Middle East and in Asia in ITU Global Cyber Security Index, and they rank number 2, tied with UK. And this is very huge achievement. And during I check, even the top 10, I'm happy to see Malaysia also rank number 5. And that is being reflecting there is a huge work behind the cyber security in Malaysia. And I honestly speaking, I visit cyber security Malaysia, and I was honored twice to visit it, once with the minister and once with the brother Zahri and the team of the cybersecurity Malaysia, and I see how much hard work they did inside the cybersecurity Malaysia. And that time it was 2014, I was astonished. And 2016, I see also a huge shift in cybersecurity Malaysia, and it was really something. It has inspired me. That's cybersecurity Malaysia. It's really in good hands. Saudi Arabia also they have unique things they did to make the cybersecurity is very unique in Saudi Arabia. Why? I'm going to give you one example that is a cybersecurity framework that established in Saudi Arabia 2017, and it was a version 1. It was a cybersecurity framework. It was a mix between the international framework and Saudi framework, and that's it's give like Saudi Arabia its upper hand in how controlling the cybersecurity. And as you see in the ITU cybersecurity index, why Saudi Arabia is jumped to rank number 2. The Saudi Arabian Monetary Authority, SAMA, which is the central bank, they established version 1 in 2017, and after 1 year they upgrade to version 2. This cybersecurity framework, it's utilized by foreign banks and insurance company and other financial organization, which is reflected that it's how it's very unique. As you see it here, it's I take this snapshot from the complete report by SAMA. Also, there is a reference for this report. As you see here, the cybersecurity framework that's established by SAMA is covering almost, which I can confirm, it's complete all the area of the cybersecurity from all perspective, like in leadership and governance, and risk management and compliance and operation and technology, and also the third-party cybersecurity. This cybersecurity framework, it's becoming like a guidebook for all Saudi ministries and institutions, and applied and effectively is worked very successfully. One of the Saudi efforts that is like in 2018, I was lucky to attend this huge gathering. It's a Saudi, it's a Hajj hackathon. This is the Guinness World Record Hajj hackathons. It was conducted in Saudi Arabia with the biggest prize of 2 million riyal for the winners, and it was more than 100 countries they participate in this meeting. Also, it's around 3,000 participants, and I remember the judge. It was high figures from cybersecurity schools and community. They were the judge, and the luckiest things is that the 4 Saudi girls they win the first prize, and they rank number 1. And I think Egypt and Algeria they came second and third, and they provided a very excellent solution during this. Why I said Hajj hackathons is help. It was like a brainstorm, big brainstorms for Hajj, for Hajj, best practices, and we bring many experience and clever people from everywhere to compete each other to bring the best practices that they can provide for Hajj. And that it was for 3 days is a huge gathering. It was a big lab workshop. I'm lucky. I attend all the 3 days. I know a lot of people's there, and I see many different new best practices. And at the same time, there is like 160 projects provided to this hackathon. And also, I put the link in end of this presentation to take a look like this project in the website of the Hajj hackathons. You can see 160 projects. You can check it. It might give you some idea. Finally, what is I can't say, the Saudi Arabia, all sectors, the government have responded, with a great harmony, because it were there, as I told you in the beginning, we have a small scenario of that Corona in 2009 with the MERS, and give us, and we thank the government. They take that very serious that time, and they make this like this is like a real scenario. Maybe it's coming again, if it because the MERS virus that time, it was only in south of Saudi Arabia, and they control it, but they make scenario what's if that separate everywhere, and what we will do during this time. And also, the Saudi Vision 2030 framework, it was released in 2017. I think coronavirus come in very good time. That's to make, especially the digital transformation aim of the vision, that it will be tested, and very well during this pandemic. And if there is something, while we are in beginning of the vision, it might we add something, it wasn't, in our aim, but alhamdulillah, I'm really happy, that it's our, experience with the corona, and based on the report and press releases came from the international organization, Saudi Arabia is one of top 3 that dealing with the corona in all levels, especially in the digital level, and in cybersecurity. We make balance between the technologies and cybersecurity in the same time. Alhamdulillah, now almost I can say, you know, Saudi Arabia, we back to our life almost 100% with the restriction. Still, there is some distance during prayer and mosque, but and still, you know, the primary school not back again, but alhamdulillah, you know, intermediate and high school and university, and even, you know, the competition and stadiums we are attending with the restriction, with the help with the technology, and tawakkalna, and alhamdulillah, you know, business also is back almost, you know, like 85%. Our company is working and gaining, you know, good profit now. Inshallah, you know, within, you know, now we have it about 90% of people, they have two vaccines in Saudi Arabia. Is almost 27 million. That's we are here about 32 millions, and I think only the age between 1 to 12 not vaccinated. That why is not completed yet, but alhamdulillah, almost all the citizen and residents, all they vaccinated. Saudi Arabia, it was registered every day in the early day about 1,000 to 1,500 a day. Now for like 5 months or 4 months, we register about from 80 to 150. We are in this range. Even we almost open widely in all institutions and back to real life. Alhamdulillah, we don't feel there is a corona. But still there is restrictions. While we enter any place, we should show tawakkalna, and even our you know status. Alhamdulillah, everything is moving smooth, and thank you very much. And I thank you again all to all colleagues there in University Technical Malaysia Malacca. And I wish you all the best, and thank you again for having me to be, you know, participating in this significant forum. Thank you very much.
Terima kasih kepada saudara Wajdi atas perkongsian ilmu yang padat dan menarik.
Thank you, Mr. Wajdi, for your wonderful sharing. For those who have any questions, please type in your questions in the Q&A space provided. Okay, now I would like to forward the question from the Q&A space for the keynote speaker to answer. Okay, just now you have mentioned about the app. So the one of the participants would like to know how many COVID-19 positive cases detected by this app during the last Hajj? Okay, that's the question.
Thank you very much. Alhamdulillah, last Hajj and the one before, 0.
Yes.
We have a 0 case because there is a you know, a very strict rule and that is applied during Hajj and even Umrah. Alhamdulillah, we don't register any cases till today. That's my alhamdulillah, you know, the technology has helped very much, and at the same time, you know, the huge rule and regulation that made by Ministry of Health and the government, you know, that make that you know, alhamdulillah, is very successful Hajj in both, and that it was declared by the spokespersons by the government through the Ministry of Hajj, last Hajj and the Hajj before. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wajdi. Okay, the second question is, okay, does Saudi Arabia only limit certain vaccines in order to allow Muslims from other countries to perform Hajj or Umrah?
Saudi Arabia it has like top 5 vaccines. I think Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, and Oxford. I think this is what the Ministry of Health, they approved. I think the Chinese vaccine and the Russian vaccine, is not approved yet, is under, you know, the FDA, Saudi FDA study. And I think this is one of the regulation that Saudi Arabia, it's very strict in that, but in the same time, I think they help the countries that they have Hajj. They provide this type of vaccines to the Hajj, I think, outside of especially in the Muslim country, and coordination between both governments.
Okey, terima kasih Saudara Wajdi.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we would like to thanks again to Mr. Wajdi.
Tanpa berlengah masa, kita beralih ke sesi kedua GDSF pada petang ini. Ianya merupakan sesi forum yang bertajuk Global Digital Forensics Challenges in the New Norm. Bagi menjayakan forum ini, pihak Urustia telah menjemput 3 orang pakar di dalam bidang digital forensik.
Thank you all. Without further delay, we would like to proceed with our second session of GDSF this afternoon. This second session is a forum entitled Global Digital Forensic Challenges in the New Norm. In this forum, we have invited 3 panelists in digital forensic.
Panel pakar yang dijemput adalah
the panelists of this forum are
Teknologis Muhammad Zamri Adil Talib, merupakan Ketua Jabatan Digital Forensik di Cyber Security Malaysia, Profesor Madya Dr. Parak Rugani dari NFSU, dan Saudara Wajdi Muhammad Al-Kuwaiti, wakil dari OIC CERT. Forum ini akan dikendalikan sepenuhnya oleh moderator yang berkaliber. Saya dengan ini menyemput dan menyerahkan sesi seterusnya kepada yang berbahagia Profesor Datuk Dr. Teknologis Haji Syarin bin Sahib. Dipersilakan.
This forum will be hosted by Yang Berbahagia Profesor Datuk TS Dr. Syarin bin Sahib as a moderator. I'm pleased to invite Yang Berbahagia Datuk to host this session. Please welcome.
Terima kasih. Thank you very much to both our Chairman, Associate Professor Dr. Faizal and also Dr. Sheikh Faizal. Mr. Wajdi, their name, I guess, over King Faisal, so both of them are Faisal. Anyhow, we have a tough session this afternoon to spice it up. I hope Dr. Parak can switch on his video so that we can see his face to interact better, I guess. So thank you again to both the chairperson, Yang Bahagia Prof. Teknologis Dr. Rabiah, the Dean of the Faculty, and to all our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I would like to welcome all our friends from all over Malaysia, from all various government agencies, from universities. I can see people coming from the Prime Minister's office, from the AG Chamber, SPRM, and many other important agencies, and also all our colleagues from different parts of the world. We can see our friends from Bangladesh, from Pakistan, even up to Nigeria, who are joining us. This is some of our colleagues from our OIC program, and I definitely thank all our distinguished speakers, who I don't think I need to further elaborate who they are, but we are still yet to know one of our local experts, who is Teknologis Muhammad Zabri Adil Talib. Yesterday he was not wearing a songkok. I think today, in due to all of us are wearing songkok, he's wearing a songkok today.
Yes.
Malaysian.
Malaysian.
Yeah. This is the Malaysian spirit, I guess, part of our national identity. So without taking too much time, let me first introduce, I mean, the way the forum goes is that each of the speakers will have about around 10 minutes to deliberate on some of the questions actually that we have passed to all of them. Then we have a second round for some further elaboration. If there's any Q&A, we'll insert that into the second round as well. So let me introduce our first panelist, Teknologis Muhammad Zabri. You know, you guys need to capture his face and remember his face very important guy. All I can say. Okay. So.
Prof. Dato'.
So he has a lot of. I don't want to name all of it, but in short, he graduated from UTM, Skuda in computer science, majoring in computer systems way back in 2001. So post that, he has been with cybersecurity all his career. So he has been involved, all I can say, in most of the major investigation and high-profile cases in Malaysia that relate to cybersecurity in Malaysia. So he has a vast experience with regard to going through investigation and coming up with digital forensic evidence. And he has appeared, to my understanding, in various courts, in Malaysia, Intellectual Property Court, Magistrate Court, Session Court, High Court, and Royal Commission for inquiry. Nasib baik Mahkamah Penghulu dah tak ada. I think if Mahkamah Penghulu is still around, also you will appear in Mahkamah Penghulu for forensic evidence. So I think as far as we are concerned, I guess everybody are quite aware we are now in the era of still undergoing pandemic, and Alhamdulillah, Malaysia has passed 80% as far as adult vaccination is concerned for the 2 doses. So we are now in and still facing the global digital forensic challenges, and as we are quite aware, there are a lot of cross-border issues. Due to the pandemic, a lot of people are online, working from home in Malaysia, learning online, PDPR and so on, still going on, at least until the end of the year. So again, so with respect to your country, Malaysia, India, and also Saudi Arabia, and also your different organization, okay, can you, each one of you later on, individually share with us what are the new challenges as far as computer forensic is concerned, and how each one of you or your own organization has responded to the new threat, and how the mitigation are being carried out to control all these new form of cyber incidents. And furthermore, perhaps we can share and talk about how the cross-border forensic investigation process can be carried out successfully, especially in identifying the perpetrators and these individuals who are doing injustice to us can be brought to justice. To start the ball rolling, I would like to invite technologist, our friend from CSM. Please, Zabri, the floor is with you.
All right, thank you very much, Prof. Dato' Dr. Sharin, for very kind word of introducing me. Let me put up my presentation slide. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I've been working in cybersecurity Malaysia for more than 16 years. And then I've been through many cases starting, when we try to introduce digital evidence in court, starting back in year 2007, it's very difficult because during that time, it's quite new. Digital forensic is quite new. But Alhamdulillah, in Malaysia right now, it's a common thing for the normal people to hear about forensics, for our court to introduce, for the law investigation officer to introduce digital forensics evidence in court. So now it's quite common. And then Alhamdulillah. And then for the past 16 years in my career, I've been to most of the court appearing as giving expert testimony, except Prof. Dato' in one case, in one court, Syariah court. During I don't have the opportunity because during my time in the operation, the digital evidence has not yet been accepted by the Syariah court. But Alhamdulillah, I've been told that nowadays digital evidence has been accepted in Syariah court. Evidence like CCTV, evidence from mobile phones has been commonly accepted right now. So to proceed with my presentation, a little bit introduction of our organization, Cybersecurity Malaysia. To those who didn't know about the organization, actually, we are not a law enforcement agency. Yeah, Cybersecurity Malaysia is the national cybersecurity specialist agency under the purview of the Ministry of Communication and Multimedia Malaysia. So the idea is during our existence is basically to assist the government in matters related to cybersecurity technical matters. Yeah, and we have no act or power to be enforced. So we are here when the law enforcement need us, when the government needs us, when the civil, the law firm needs us. So we are there. So we try our best to be impartial, to be professional, and to deliver digital forensic services. And digital forensic department is actually under the cybersecurity responsive services division, whereby our vision and mission is basically to promote the excellence in digital forensics science. And also our mission is to facilitate the continuous improvement in the digital forensics and also to provide awareness of them. So these are what has been our passion, whereby we focus on our process, we focus on our people, we focus on our technology in order to pursue this mission and vision. And we gather all the information, all the knowledge back to Malaysia from all over the world and try to pass it back to the law enforcement agencies so that they gain benefit from our experience, from our journey, and then we try our best to bridge the law enforcement with the academia, with the researchers, so that when the researcher conduct their research, they are solving the real problem. Yeah, not the theoretical problem, but the real problem, so that we can use that solution, that research output to solve real problem, especially in digital forensics. And let's take a look at our statistics, case statistic and comparison between last year and this year. Yeah, we can see that in total cases, there is quite high increment there, 30%, more or less like 30% of increase compared to the last year. So I believe that this is, related to the COVID-19 new norm, like, full government digitalization, and then people are more depending on digital connection, digital world. People live more on the cyber world compared in the real world. Yeah. So if you take a look at the breakdown at the level, so we in Cybersecurity Malaysia, we have level 1, level 2, level 3, and level 4. And then our services, we have first responder services, which is focusing on providing on-site investigation support to law enforcement agencies at the crime scene. And then we have digital forensic services, whereby this is focusing on the government, on the criminal cases. In criminal cases, we only provide our services to the prosecution team, but not to the defense team. Because we don't want any conflict of interest if we become the expert witness for the defendant in criminal cases. As for the cyber discovery, this is actually a service we provide to the private sectors so that they can use the evidence in civil cases, or they can use it in their organization in a domestic inquiry case. And we also have CyberDef. CyberDef, we call it Cyber Detection, Eradication and Forensics, or Cyber Defense. So this is actually a service focusing on cases, big cases, when involving like critical national information infrastructure. So when we call upon, so we categorize this case under this level. So just to get for the all audience to understand what is actually level 1, level 2, and level 3. So basically, this is the dictionary. You can see that we categorize all these competency level. I would say level 1 is the basic knowledge, and then level 2 is the intermediate, level 3 is advanced, and level 4 is expert level, which is currently we have our main service is computer forensic service, mobile devices forensic service, and also multimedia forensic service consists of the audio and video analysis, forensic analysis. So, and we train our team according to this competency level. And when talk a little bit about Malaysia trending, where we can see that in Malaysia, we based on cases received in cybersecurity Malaysia, we can see that there are top 3 cybercrime categories, which is the first one is the ransomware, and then the second one is data breach, and then the third one is the business email compromise, whereby these are top 3 cases that keep on repeating again. And then based on all the level 4 cases received by Cybersecurity Malaysia, 86% of that particular case, expert level case, is related to malware, and the rest, the remaining, is related to the hacking or the unauthorized cases, unauthorized access case. And then, as we know, these are all the cases that were started with the involvement of phishing emails, and then using malwares to gain more access. As shown in the landscape mapping, the way they exploit is basically by exploiting the human element of the people, human element, the weakness of the human element, which is we have needs, we have needs, we have many things that can be used to be socially engineered by the cyber criminal in order to proceed with their criminal agenda. So in order to respond to these increasing cybercrime cases in Malaysia, Cybersecurity Malaysia, we started this campaign, Cyber Casa campaign, whereby this is actually an initiative to focus on the holistic approach of cybersecurity, focusing on when dealing with Cybersecurity Malaysia, we need to use holistic approach involving humans, processes, and technology, because the only way that we can combat or we can prevent from cybercrime from happening is through our knowledge from ourselves. We are the one who should be able to prevent from this happening. So on the human part, there is a need to improve the knowledge of the people, of the staff, not only at the technical level, but also at the public level, and improve our processes, check out our procedure, our competency level, and then last one, the technology part of it. We need to use the right technology in order to get the right result for the objective that we set on. Yeah. And this is still undergoing in currently in Cybersecurity Malaysia. And when we talk about cross-border issues, this is a big problem to law enforcement anywhere around the world, because cybercrime is basically one click away, and suddenly it can be from they can reside anywhere around the world. So there is yes, you can have a technology in order to trace them, but you need to respect or you need to understand that each country have their own law. So there is no excuse on that. We need to respect that. So the only way to combat with cross-border issue is through mutual legal assistance treaties. For example, at the international level, we have so many treaties. The idea of the treaties is basically to get assistance when it comes to criminal cases, like terrorism, like kidnapping, murder, and also for cyber crime cases. So as for Malaysia, we use MACMA. So we have MACMA in order to support the collaboration between ASEANAPOL, Europol, Interpol, or military or custom agencies, whereby in this through this law, whereby the other countries will acknowledge this law, and then they will provide assistance as per according to the law. So this is not actually to dispute other cooperation, but to support their cooperation in terms of conducting joint investigation operation, intelligence exchange, international, and many more. So the platform is there. So the issue is the post-treaty development. So how do we use this platform to solve cases like, JLO case, Sajat case? These are people who running away from Malaysia, and then they seek hide in other countries. So actually the platform is there, but how can we make this post-treaty development is more active between countries? So these are where we can truly combat the cross-border issues, cybercrime issues, if we have good post-treaty development or cooperation or collaboration, like we have with Saudi Arabia and also with India friends today. This is just an example. And as for the conclusion, so the new cyber forensics norm, based on my understanding, is that forensic readiness in managing cybercrime nowadays is an important investment. So the only way to respond fast and efficiently with cybercrime is basically to manage it. So how to manage it? By implementing forensic readiness in the organization, because it will save a lot of time. It will make things more productive, make things more efficient after you implement forensic readiness. And then we feel that forensic intelligence capability is required to support forensic examination, because nowadays we have big data infrastructure, we have AI, ML capability, we have computing power. So we are now able to process all this data. So if we are able to put all the information from past cases inside one center repository, so it can be used to support or to help when you come across with the similar symptoms, similar cases in future. And phishing and malicious mobile application will be frequently used as the main technique to conduct cyber attack. We've seen this many times, a lot. It's increasing in Macau scam case. When somebody they trick you for you to download the APK. They send you APK through WhatsApp and then ask you to install these APK apps. So these apps will have permission to everything. So this is how the cyber criminal nowadays exploit the mobile technology in order to pursue with their criminal agenda. And the last one, voluminous and scattered evidence are expected, because nowadays it's a cloud storage era. So everything is stored at the cloud, no more using thumb drive or portable drive. So when conducting forensic analysis, it's quite frustrating when we see that the laptops It's actually like a empty laptop because people access everything or conduct their works through a web browser. And then these are something that we need to think more. I think that's all, Prof. Dato. I hope I met the 10 minutes timeline. Thank you very much.
We give you a bit of leeway because you have not got the floor compared to the other two panelists. But anyhow, thank you very much, Technology Zabri, for I think a very enlightened slide. And I guess what that shows to us is how complex things are today. And as far as
Yes.
people who are in on the other side, if I may use that word, you know, they are also organized. Okay, they are also
Yes.
as complex as the way we are doing things. And this cat and mouse game, I guess. And I think we are quite fortunate because as far as Malaysia in its history, we share a lot with India. And I think with regard to the Second World War and post-war during emergency, there were a lot of soldiers actually from India, from the Commonwealth country who came to Malaysia. And we also inherited the same British common law, Dr. Parak. So there, you never realize that there's a lot of commonalities with us. Just to inform some of our colleagues who are online, I was shocked when I sat in one of the board in Bangladesh Islamic University, one of the OIC outfit also, Mr. Wajidi. And when I look at the way they do their budgeting, and the moment I got their budget sheet, I can read it in detail and I can understand everything. Because why? That's how the British did it, and that's how the Malaysian are doing it. That's how the Bangladeshi are doing it, and that's how the Indian are doing it. So there are a lot of in common that we do not realize. So I would like to call our second panelist, Dr. Parak Rugani. Based on the situation that you are now facing in India, and of course being one of the most populated country in facing the pandemic, and we know the fact that the internet penetration now in India are you know, skyrocketing at a very phenomenal rate. And I'm sure, as you rightly said, the only country who has a dedicated university that solely focused in forensic is your own establishment. And we know the fact that your honorable Prime Minister is your key patron in promoting this. So I would like to hear from you to share your experience and knowledge with regard to the issues that we are now facing, and how, with respect to India, doing it your own way, perhaps anything that you can share with us in our forum this afternoon. Please, Dr. Parak, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Professor, for the kind words. Yes, I do agree with Mr. Zabri in many regards, because he has touched upon very important aspects for this pandemic. As rightly said, India, as being the highly populated country, we are facing a lot of challenges in terms of cyber crimes. So I do not have presentation at this moment, but I would like to discuss and talk in this 10 minutes about the things, and I would probably show one website as one of the initiatives which the government of India has taken. Talking about the cyber crimes, the good thing is that everyone has mobile and internet these days, and the bad thing is they have the mobile and internet, but they don't have the idea how to use it so that they can remain safe. So the majority of crimes which are observed in India, when we talk about cyber crimes, they are related to phishing, spam, ransomware, as it's observed everywhere in the world. And as per one of the data, one of the reports which I have in my records, it says that around 64% increase has been observed during the pandemic. So that clearly indicates that the speed by which people are transferring from the routine and manual process to the virtual process, including banking and the other things, the experts and highly technologically sound criminals, they are targeting the people. The major reasons, as per my observation and my experience, which I have observed so far, is that the problem is with the awareness. The people are not educated. They do not have sufficient awareness about the latest modus operandi adopted by the criminals. So some of the incidents, if I say them, they have started to compromise the business email address, as it was written in one of the slides. And people, one of my friends' employee, she got trapped in that. My friend's email was created, fake email was created, and then he demanded some money, and that lady. The concern here for me was that like the Google, we mostly use Gmail in India. So the Gmail was not able to filter that as a spam. Otherwise, those type of emails are generally filtered. So that was a technical concern that could lead to such issues. So it's there, yeah, like many cases are being reported. Many people do not even know that they have been victimized in case of data breach, and many times even they know that some financial fraud has taken place. They don't feel comfortable in going and reporting it. Many times such things are also happening here. As an initiative, Government of India, first I will take, and then from the university's point of view, I will discuss. So I would show one website that Government of India has launched. It was launched prior to COVID-19, but this has been started. I think you are able to see my screen. This is cybercrime.gov.in, where the government has allowed the citizens to report the cybercrime. So this platform allows the individuals to report the crime. They have divided into two categories: report crimes related to women and children, and the other cyber crimes. The good thing is that some crimes can be reported anonymously also. So this helps the people who hesitate in going and visiting police station. So they have a platform where they can go and then they can file a complaint. The good thing in this portal is that before you file a complaint, you also have an option to learn about cybercrime. So this also acts as a as an advisory and as an as a manual for the user, so they can refer to the types of crime, what is cybercrime, what can be called cybercrime, what could be the thing that that refers to the type of incident that has taken place in terms of the victim's case. So this is one good portal. It also has a lot of good cyber safety tips, citizen manuals, awareness. As an initiative, they have also started to invite the people as cyber volunteers. If the people have good knowledge about handling cyber crimes, or they have some expertise, and if they want to volunteer, they can register as a volunteer, and they can also be useful in handling this type of crimes. So this initiative of Government of India has received a very good response, specifically when the reported crimes were very low, and then when people came to know about this particular portal, they have started using it and then started reporting the crimes. While we talk about the handling this pandemic, the cyber crimes specifically in this pandemic, the main responsibility of the government and the agencies like us is to have the capacity building. So we are focusing on mainly capacity building in terms of digital forensics and cybercrime investigation. So this can be done in different ways. One of the methods, which is our mandate, is to prepare the graduates and make the students experts in this domain, which is a time-taking process that takes 1 year, 2 years. But there are some short-term training courses, and the government has said that we are not only addressing the need of forensic investigators. It should be throughout the whole justice delivery system. So starting from the first responder or the collection officer, or till the chief justice or jurisdiction officer or judges, all people involved in the whole process, they should be aware about the forensics, and that is the aim of the our honorable Prime Minister and our Minister of Home, that the days have gone where you use the interrogation and third degree. Now the time is there that you use the scientific methods, forensics, and then you make the people understand the importance of forensics, which can help in reducing the crime also, and it will also help in convicting the criminals. So that is the main idea. We are training people at all the levels, from constable to the judges, and these trainings are dedicated in different segments. So that is one aspect that we have started adopting these days. Talking about the cross-border, like each country is currently concerned about the cyberspace jurisdiction. the cyberspace jurisdiction, as we know, is not in control of any particular entity or any particular country. It depends purely on the relations with the countries. However, India has started to implement a particular law for data privacy, where the agencies are asked to keep the nodal officers and the data centers within the India. So the jurisdiction can have the provision to get the details and data from them. So that is one good initiative again from the current country's point of view. At large, if we see the whole pandemic situation which is going on, it's leading to the use of mobile phone and internet. But the major problem, as I said earlier also, is the educating the end users. And for that, we have the states in the country. So all the states and their authorities, their law enforcement agencies, they are also working on different methodologies and different methods to educate the people in terms of putting hoardings, big hoardings and banners in the cities, most dense areas, sending SMSs, sending emails, regularly sending the advertisements in the newspaper. So when people read all this, they become aware. Like these are the do's and don'ts. These are the safety tips. These are the incidents where people can be trapped, and this has happened to someone. I should be careful. There are also some good advertisements and small jingles which are being prepared by some police agencies in India, which are broadcasted to the radio and to the television. So these all media, they allow us to reach to the common person and to educate them. I personally recommend, before I conclude, is that we need to collaborate. Specifically, there is a hesitation in the victims. Those who get victimized, they don't openly share their problem with others. And once you do not do that, you make others also, you put a risk for the others also. Like if a bank gets compromised by ransomware, that bank should may not be publicly by disclosing their name, but at least should come out with the strategy which they adopted to handle the incident, what type of damage was caused, and then the things can be referred and discussed with the collaborating agencies in the country, within the country, and outside the country, and then we can put all efforts so that the other other agencies and other stakeholders, they also remain safe and they also remain prepared for such type of incidents. I would like to emphasize on the emerging cybercrime specifically here in next 1 minute. So as Mr. Zabri has said that the AI and ML based crimes, specifically, I would also emphasize on the drones, which are also becoming a threat these days. So the problem with the forensics and the investigation agencies is that the pace with which we are working on specific tasks is very less, and the speed and the pace by which the technology is being used by the criminals is very fast. By the time the experts and investigators, forensic investigators, they learn about the new technology, those technologies are being misused by the criminals, like deepfake videos, morph images, pornographic content. A lot of things are been happening these days, and they have very focused vision. The criminals are very focused. They have only one task to perform, while we are having a lot of things to do. So I would, on this platform, would probably recommend that we in India emphasizing on expertise in different domains in different fields. So we need to have a pool of resources, expert in a particular domain, that can help in handling the crimes. And in that aspect, the government of India is also thinking to have forensic investigators specifically for the digital forensics and cybercrime, to depute at least one such forensic investigator at the district level police station in all India, at least one, and there should be a separate cyber cell. That would be a condition where the turnaround time and the handling the case would increase. So dependency of the cases would reduce. I think I have taken 10 minutes time, which was allotted to me. And I think that's it from my side, Professor.
Thank you, Dr. Park, for your sharing. I guess sooner or later we will have to drop the word cyber in almost everything, because I think beyond this point, the crime will not be crime without cybercrime. I would like to pick up when Technology Zabri was saying that he did not manage to appear in the Sharia court just now. So anything that happen around us will involve cyber or digital aspect in one way or another. So this is why Malaysia, as I think in India as well as in Saudi Arabia and any part of the world, the shortage in people who are trained in cyber forensics, in computer crime, is in a great shortage. So this is where we would like to encourage, especially those who are parents out there who are joining us today, to encourage their kids to explore into this area, because the country, not only Malaysia, this is true for all countries around the globe. In order for us to make sure that we are safe, our kids are safe, our family are safe, our country are safe, we need to protect ourselves. We were quite happy just now when Mr. Wajid shared with us in terms of the new ITU ranking. I have to congratulate Saudi Arabia for moving up there so fast. Malaysia is moving outward, but I think other people are moving faster than us. Technology Zabri, we were up there before.
No. Okay. It's not that we are getting worse.
We are not falling behind. People are moving faster than us.
It's a competition.
So, it's a competition. Yeah, it's a competition. But Alhamdulillah, I think.
To me, it's not really a competition. I don't want to put it in a competition, because when you study the report, the ITU report, at Malaysia's score in terms of technical, in terms of training, we got good marks. So we less in the area of legislation.
Yep.
So,
I think you rightly pointed out. This is where actually one of the key points that I would to highlight later. But I think we will finish off the first round first. We will not
okay.
Mr. Wajidi, it's not given a chance.
Congratulations to Wajdi and Saudi Arabia team.
Yeah, I think Zabri, he picked up a lot from us. I think he brought back to Saudi Arabia.
Yes. That's a good thing.
It's a good thing. Of course, we have our commonality within the Commonwealth country with India. And of course, with Saudi Arabia, we are part of the OIC outfit. And Mr. Wajdi has been there in OIC for quite a while. So he has traveled to most of the OIC countries with regard to their cybersecurity preparedness, and also been to Malaysia for quite a long time. Just to hear from you with regard to this new phenomena and how we have heard quite a lot of changes in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia with regard to access and certain level of accessibility and freedom in certain aspect of things. And I'm sure with that also come issues with regard to cybercrime on the rise as well. So perhaps you can share with us what is it like there now, and how the different agencies in Saudi Arabia has taken up things, and how Saudi Arabia, of course, with regard to Hajj, are collaborating with all of the Muslim countries. But with regard to cybercrime, what are the framework that Saudi Arabia are now using in working with other countries? Please, Mr. Wajdi, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I hope you hear me well. I can't see my face is freezing here. I don't know, is it clear other side?
Yeah, there's a bit of lagging, but we can hear you well.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for your question. I'm not that much expert in Saudi systems, honestly. While my 14 years experience in international fora, and through OIC and through Saudi embassy, while my work, even in United States, but through a lot of meetings that attending, inside Saudi Arabia, especially, and also as a witness inside Saudi Arabia, what I see is development. I can tell you, Saudi Arabia is working like not, 3 or 4 years ago. Saudi Arabia has like since 90s, they do have a huge, ambitions to be one of the country that, especially, in ICT. And I remember, in 2000, there is a huge decision made that, it should be, Saudi Arabia, one of the best country in the infrastructure. And then they work, for the capacity building program. And I think in 2004, it was the turning point for Saudi Arabia. There is like 500,000 Saudi students. They got scholarship and, separate in everywhere in the world. And especially in all schools and prestigious school in the United States, in Europe, and in Asia. And I think you witnessed that, Your Excellency, that some students from Saudi Arabia, it was, large numbers, especially in Malaysia and Korea and India and all special institutes that time. That is give, like parallel improvement in Saudi Arabia in the level of infrastructure and the level of capacity building. That's why when they reach to 2007 or 2009, Saudi Arabia has almost can start its education system completely over the e-education system, and that it was ready since 2009. That it's like Saudi Arabia was prepared that just kind of they have like a second solution and they have like a strategic plan. Subhanallah, when the COVID-19 come, Saudi Arabia, when they start, just they said we will start our platform for education system. They start from day one, and even the staff and teachers were almost with a good level of readiness that they start, and that make it easy for the education system in Saudi Arabia. Also, the Saudi Arabia, it's take like international perspective, that's creating some center to counter terrorism, especially the extremist terrorism over the cyberspace. There is a center called Itidal, and I would like, the researcher or the people who are interested, I might share, the page here now. Is a question or I keep on? I keep going or there is a question?
I think there's an interruption. Go ahead, Mr. Wajdi.
Okay, thank you. I share the website. I don't know is it appear there or not, but
yeah, we can see it.
Okay, this is the Atidal Center. This is like 120, almost 140 country is a member, and this is inaugurated, by King Salman and President Trump, and this is one of the huge center had studies and report and research about the counter terrorism over the cyberspace. I think this is the people who are interested and they have research about how to combating the extreme and ideologies over the cyberspace. I think this is one of the difficult situation now that is involved in cyber crimes. And I think Brother Zabri, it might has idea about it, and I think there is a huge workshops they made and a lot of certificates they provided in the international level. So Saudi Arabia has a huge contribution also through Prince Naif security for security and science university. This is also is very specialized in the security university. Also it held internationals meetings and events, and also is care about academia, especially in the publications in the area of the security, especially in cyber cyberspace and cybersecurity things. There is not much to mention, honestly, because most of my experience, as I mentioned, is in international fora. But I hope, I add, some like, or I buoy in some idea about, Saudi Arabia infrastructure and efforts, especially in cybersecurity. As I mentioned before, the cybersecurity framework that Saudi Arabia uses, it's established by Saudi Arabia, version 1 and version 2. And most of what achieve and achievement is made by Saudi hands, while there is a good experience that align.
Hello, Mr. Wajdi. We can't hear you. Hello?
We have a young society. We have one of the best university in the world, KAUST. It has one of the super computer called Shaheen. They brought it 2007, and now in 2014 they built Shaheen 2, which is the super computer, and this is one of one big achievements. And I'm lucky that they share it with the Islamic Ummah, Islamic countries, especially in the research centers and research and academia. Thank you very much again, and I hope I add new experience and knowledge to this event. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wajdi, for sharing the experience from the Saudi Arabian point of view. I would like to encourage our participants, if they have any question, please use the Q&A tab or panel that you can see at the, if you're using a desktop, your bottom right. If you can't see the panel, just click on the three dots. It should appear, and then you can use that part to start asking questions. For the second round, we will try to entertain the question as much as we can. I hope the panel don't mind. But if not, we'll continue discussing. So I'll pick up one of the questions that has appeared in our Q&A tab. I think this one is directed to Mr. Zabri. Good afternoon, Mr. Zabri. May I know your thoughts on the current challenges in the field of phishing detection, and what are the directions for the application of AI or deep learning in solving phishing attacks? Technology Zabri, you want to pick up on that, or you can start first?
Okay, the current challenges in the field of phishing detection. Okay. I would say that the only way for us to fight with phishing threats is basically through awareness, to improve our awareness, because the cyber criminal, they are so good using all those information they got based on the current trends, or they can do spear phishing attack to you by understanding your social media and get other information. So as for the best solution is basically to improve our awareness on how to dealing with unknown or unknown emails or emails sent by anybody that might be suspicious. So in terms of the technology aspect of it, we can do like cybersecurity measure. We come up with don't fish me plugins. So where it's actually a whitelisting all those reported that has been identified as a phishing site. So it is put inside this database. So when you visited
We're
this
getting a lot of
website,
interference from our participants. I would like to remind all our participants to switch off your mic. You are disrupting our discussion. Okay, go ahead, Zabri.
Okay, so when we try to click and access that particular URL, so it will become a notification or alert saying that it's actually a fish website. So in terms of the AI, right now we cybersecurity Malaysia, we don't have project that focusing on the phishing attacks, yeah, but we come up with another project. We call it coordinated malware eradication and remediation project, CMERP. So CMERP is actually a packet or it's a cyber health monitoring technology, so that we can understand what's going through, what's happening in our network. You imagine it's like a river. So is it a clean and healthy and hygiene river, or it's full of microorganism or virus, unhealthy stuff that can make us sick? But in phishing, no, we don't have that, Prof. Dato. Maybe Dr. Parak can help me on that.
Sure. So yes,
Okay, Dr. Parak, please, anything to comment on that question?
Yes, I would like
attack.
to add, yes, of course, the AI is playing major role. And I would also recommend that if the latest technologies can be used by the criminals, it should be equally used to defend and to mitigate the crimes. So if we optimize, we utilize the power of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning, then of course, there is already a lot of research has proved that AI has a capability of detecting the phishing emails, and then that detection can help in preventing. So I do agree, and I also like to comment on. Sorry, I was muted with all others. So I hope you can hear me now.
Oh, yeah. We get some interference here. Any comments on that, Mr. Wajdi, on the questions on the use of AI in your experience?
Colleagues, they answered this question. Do you hear me? I think there is.
Okay, we can hear you. There's some interference, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think both colleagues, they answered this question very well. I might, just like add something to Brother Zabri, in this regard. I remember, when I visit cybersecurity Malaysia, I remember that it was like a cyber guru and cyber safe, cyber 999. I think this is kind of this. It can, utilize, in awareness and related to this question. Or thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Wajdi. We have a stream of questions now coming in, so I guess we'll entertain them so that not to leave the question unanswered. There's a question for Dr. Parak. Dr. Parak, how about the use of VR and AR, augmented reality, in teaching digital forensic? Can you share in your own institution whether that's being used?
So AR and VR, like the application of augmented reality and virtual reality, is mainly to provide the feel and the environment of a particular scene. So like it could be related to pure science, or it could be related to forensic science. So when I shared the slides, the VR and AR which we are in process of implementing is mainly for the traditional crime scenes, where this type of scene of crime, mock scene of crimes can be created, and the trainees, they can use the AR and VR in the simulated environment. For digital forensics, most of the things are virtual, so it hardly requires any physical objects to be simulated. So there we may not be in need of AR and VR. But in the traditional, the conventional crimes, this can be used.
Okay, we have another question actually for Dr. Parak again. This is from Ms. Norika. She's asking, I found this website, hack this box and hack this site. In the point of view of an educator, is it a good practice to learn penetration testing and I am interested in taking certificate for digital forensic. Is there any recommendation?
Sure. So yes, of course, this type of websites have been coming up in the last couple of years, and they have the virtual environment. The good thing about cyberspace is that you can almost virtualize everything related to penetration testing or cybersecurity, malware analysis, or digital forensics. What they are doing is basically they are creating different virtual machines, and those assignments, the tasks to perform, are provided to them. This is also kind of cyber range exercise where you have blue teaming and red teaming. I would like to mention that in the university, we have a cyber defense center, which had the cyber range limited for IT. Now we are in the process of implementing for the OT also. So information technology. We do have this facility for our own students where they get the platform and playground to play with the different types of vulnerable machines, and then to understand how these machines can be compromised and how to apply the security for them. Regarding the certificate in digital forensics, there are a lot of agencies, international agencies, apart from my university, where we are also offering online certification. There are a lot of good reputed certifications. I am not sure if the NOS and the others are also offering, but in case if you're interested in getting that from our university, you can always contact me through my email.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Park. We still have a lot of questions streaming in, I think, which is good. If any question from our audience, please, again, I would like to remind, please use the Q&A tab. Another question here actually is addressed to also Mr. Tiaz Zabri from Mr. Moklis Prasetyo. Actually, this is my student, but anyhow, I'll read his question. I have a question to Mr. Zabri. Is it possible to collaborate on digital forensic research between Indonesia and Malaysia? That's the first question. And the second question is that what standards are used to conduct cross-border cybercrime investigation? I think it's the standards or law, perhaps. You mentioned a few just now in your slides. Can you switch on, Tony Zabri? Your mic is mute.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yes, for the first question, yes, it is possible to collaborate, but we must have a project first. So what type of collaboration? Because, for example, right now we are focusing on AI and big data forensics. We are focusing on vehicle forensics. We are focusing on cryptocurrency or digital asset forensics. And the last one, we are focusing on the text forensics. So if you happen to be in this domain, so this is our main focus right now. So we can sync, we can exchange knowledge, and then maybe we can join writing research paper. Right now, because right now in vehicle forensics, we work together with University Islam in Jogja, if I'm not mistaken, together with the UTM KL. I think that's for question number one. Second questions there are two parts. I just explained before, just now. The first one, we have MAGMA. So if we want to conduct a cross-border cybercrime investigation, so what's the objective? The objective is to get information. For example, we trace IP address. The IP address resided in France, for example. So we can use MAGMA through our AG chambers. So they will send requests to the French AG chambers. So AG chambers will respond by addressing the information to the respective local law enforcement in French, and then they will help us in order to get all those information for Malaysia, and then they will kind of send it back to Malaysia. So this thing takes time. And then plus, if there is any involvement of monetary expenses. So it will be borne by the requesting countries. So this is the official way, and then it takes time. We can see in Jolo cases, we can see in previous cases, Rajapetra cases. So it will take time in order to get this all through. So the other option is through Interpol, through the treaty between organizations. So if it is an offense under the police, so the police will use the police channel by contacting Interpol, and then the Interpol Interpol French will communicate with local French law enforcement. So that's how they do it. So the best way is basically to get contacts, build up networking. For example, like me and Mr. Wajdi and Dr. Parak. So if I have anything in Saudi Arabia, so I will contact him. So he will help me in order to speed things up. So that's the only way. That's the standard of how doing it. And yes, it takes time. So the best way is
I just want to probe further, Technology Zabri, because Malaysia and Indonesia, we have always this brotherly relationship. I use that term because as brotherly relationship is sometimes you go into a fight, then you come back, become friends again.
Okay.
Become. I remember there were a lot of cases, and what I've observed is that of certain recent cases, we managed to resolve the issues quite quickly. In issues of, for example, the defacement of the Agong and things like that, the issues of Negaraku and so on. Perhaps can you share with us what are the current, without going into too details, what are the current bilateral arrangement that we have in terms of cyber forensic and cybercrime investigation that we have between the two nations?
Okay, if it's a defacement case, so that is more or less the main channel is through CERT communities. Okay, so the CERT communities, ID30 and MyCERT, we have very long relationship, friendship. So in fact, we do a lot of things to projects before. So basically, it's through communication, because Malaysia, we respect our neighbors. So we gave like leeway to our neighbors. So sometimes we don't take immediate action with them. So basically, through CERT platform, so we'll have in communication and then try to solve things down, resolve things down. Not really using police or Interpol channel, because it's actually doing defacement is actually an offence under Computer Crime Act in Malaysia. So in order to bring the perpetrator to the justice, so you need to confiscate or seize or get the evidence from Indonesia and then bring him back to Malaysia or do the extradition. So that costs or it's something involve a lot of works, a lot of coordination. So usually the law enforcement will think whether it is worth it or not. If it's not worth it, and then usually they will put NFA, no further action, with prosecution. Because there is one case, Gosney malware. So in order to bring down the Gosney malware syndicate, it requires 6 countries. Coordination between 6 countries. It involves DOJ, involves Secret Service. It's a big operation. So because of the Gosney malware, it's actually a banking malware that have the losses accounted to like 100 million. So it's something that is worthy to proceed with that cross-border operation. But it's only if it is just a defacement. So usually we just talk to the CERT community. So the CERT will communicate with the underground or with the cybersecurity community, so they will pass the information. No, it's not actually Malaysian who did it, it's actually Indonesian. So everything resolved and then things cool down. Same goes to the Philippines.
Yeah,
One
I
day,
guess that's what happening today. I think it's happened throughout, even in the Arab world, in the South, Asia's continent. Similar issues are happening between neighboring countries, I guess. I would like to move on. There were still some questions coming in. There's one from Mr. Shahid Hazik, who's asking, greetings. As we know, cyberbullying is also one of the cybersecurity concern nowadays. Since the pandemic has happened, so is there any standards or procedure specifically on how to mitigate or handle these activities? Any one of the panels want to pick up? How is it in India? How is it in Saudi Arabia? And of course in Malaysia?
I might,
Mr. Majidi?
yes, I will take this question. There is, mostly, I supervise some program like this in the Islamic, countries. There was a very significant programs that it's established in Malaysia, and one in UAE, and one in Saudi Arabia. That's cyberbullying for children. I think the one in Malaysia that I see, they have like cartoon character. I forget the two names of the cartoon characters. There is a girls and boys, and that it
Nix
was
and Pixel.
exactly, yes. I forget.
Yes.
Sorry, that. And that it's honestly it's we take this program and we saw like outreach it to some African countries, and I remember I connect some 3 or 4 countries with cybersecurity Malaysia through Brother Zahri, and also that program is imitated in United Arab Emirates, but in different character like Salim and Fatima. Also in Saudi Arabia, yeah, we have the same in Saudi Arabia. We have 2 different also characters for cyberbullying, especially for the children and kids, and that now I think that including in the primary school education, and it's kind like what they call is life practice, daily life practice things. They added in this, like they give awareness for especially for the kids from age, 6 to 15. Cyberbullying now is one of the biggest problem, honestly speaking. Here in Saudi Arabia, there is a very strict rule, and is almost like 500,000 riyal and 1 year in jail if they even one bullying tweet, and just take snapshot, send it كلنا آمن, that's mean always secure. This is the through the Ministry of Interior, and you send it with your ID identification numbers, that it will put the other guy in very um, sorry situation, because at least 1 year in jail, 500,000 riyal penalty. That is at least to make cyberbullying, some restriction for that. But still, we need awareness. This is the most big problems, especially for the age from 6 to 14. And I'm happy, I see this program, in Malaysia, and honestly, this is the first program I saw in Malaysia. And I was, when I visit, during my visit to Islamic countries, just I refer directly to Cybersecurity Malaysia, just to take this, kind of cyberbullying program that it's applied in Malaysia, to have, the good and best practices to other countries. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wajidi. Dr. Parag, you want to add anything to that in scenario in India?
Not exactly anything additional to that, almost identical situation and identical protocols. We do not have such harsh punishment, strict punishment at this stage, but I like the way things can be controlled by putting such restrictions and such punishments. The only thing, as Mr. Vati has said, that it is all about the awareness, and one of the incidents which I can recall, recent incidents, is in one of the schools, the classes are conducted through Zoom. So they kept that chat option enabled, and then the students, they started misusing that. So we need to train the educators, specifically school and academic institutes, trainers and authorities, for some do's and don'ts and some SOPs. So they because when the school was contacted, they did not have the answer that how this can be controlled. So many times we need to make them aware about the technology. Apart from always, the children should be educated through their primary education syllabus and the other ways. The organizations also should be trained and should be educated.
Okay, thank you. We have okay.
I just want to add related to cyberbully. Yeah, so cyberbully is a bit complicated, Prof. Dato, because okay, what makes things criminal? When somebody lose something, somebody damage, experience damage, experience losses. So when you the term bully, the impact or the damage, it's not to the level of you can define it as something criminal. So it is more related to ethics. It more related to the adab. It's more related to the culture. So it's difficult for you to punish, for example, someone who are not unmoral, who have no etiquette. When someone who throw trash everywhere, not in the dustbin. So it's difficult to because it's something similar like bully. So the only way to combat or to respond to cyberbully is through awareness. To awareness by teaching, by creating a culture. For example, in Malaysia, we have this culture of, they call it onion army, tentera bawang.
Yeah.
Yes, this is in a gray area. It's not really something criminal, but it is can be considered as a bully when you're spamming people's social media with vulgar words, making that person depressing. So this is the kind of cyberbully, and that it shouldn't be happening, but it's happening. And then it's like becoming a culture. Oh, tentera bawang, onion army will come and give you punishment. No, so it's back to the ethics. So we need to teach our people about ethics in the cyber world.
I would like to add to this, Mr. Zabri. The culture can be developed in two ways, by education and by strict rules also. So many times it is mandatory, like the impact can become very severe when a victim commits suicide because of cyberbullying.
Yeah.
So that can become an offense.
Yeah, that's different story, but normal or common cyberbully, it's not, to reach to that point. So there's something to ponder.
Yeah. There's a fine line when you start crossing, it becomes harassment, then harassment becomes something, asking for ransom, things like that. Then you start crossing the line. But it can start off, or it can stay in the bully domain without crossing
Correct.
any law.
Chain of blackmails. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need to
Right.
teach citizens about empathy.
Yeah, but also, as you mentioned, this is culture things, and Saudi Arabia, they take the Sharia law like qadf and the namima and the other things. This is one scale, and the other one is they define each, what kind of cyberbullying, especially that for the repetitions, especially for tracing, or spreading, pictures of families. They define exactly, and they make the lowest 1 year punishment and 500,000, and the maximum is 5 years. And
But
there
they
is
want based
scale,
on Sharia law.
Sharia law, and also there is, also that based on definitions exactly, in the social media, how, they consider this bullying, especially in high level, between intellectual, That difference between critique and between bullying, you know, that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree. I think that's the basic principle of Sharia is to protect life, to protect the wealth, and also to protect the dignity. I think they are using the dignity part as the main fundamentals. Okay, time is not with us. We have to wrap up. Ladies and audience, I think I can't entertain any more questions. So in the last round for conclusion, I just would like to hear the comments from all the panelists. I think one of the key issues that we are now facing actually is not only the cross-border coordination. I thank some of our participants who shared their experience as well with regard to the multilateral agreement between countries, you know, the bilateral arrangement that some of us are already having. But I want to focus now actually within a country. How do each one of your country actually deal with it? Of course, Malaysia and India, we have a federal constitution, and the states has its own jurisdictions. Within the states, they have their own territory. Within the federal government agencies, I think I want to elaborate more. I think Tia Zabri, you know what I mean. It cut across different agencies in terms of enforcement. But how do we deal with that? In fact, why Malaysia is ranked 5 because we are not tackling some of those issues. Can each one of us, perhaps I start off with also Tia Zabri, how do we tackle these interagencies issues?
Okay, why Malaysia number 5? Let me answer that first. I studied why Malaysia number 5. It's actually because it is not mandated in Malaysia to report any cyber incidents happen in an organization. Compared to the other countries in Southeast Asia, countries, there is a need. You must report.
So we have audience from AGC here, PMO and so on, so they're listening.
Yes, this is very important because when people report, you know, if we have the data, so the data will be known to everybody. So it involves reputation or it involves something. So if it's not being mandated, so or mandatory, so they want this, they will not report because they don't want their reputation to be tarnished. So it looks like nothing happened on the surface. But if it's been reported and then it's been known to the people, so they will take appropriate action, you know, to mitigate, to push, invest, put more budget to improve, to make it, it won't be happening again in future. So it will be, you know, chain effect based on this reporting. We can use that data to create more awareness. We can you know put another effort in responding to that type of cybercrime. So this is the main things, but it's been overseen by I don't know, by Malaysian. So I hope hopefully we will cover this part and make it mandatory for them to report this. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Tia Zabri. Mr. Wajdi, you want to comment anything on that, on how the interagencies coordination being done in the Saudi?
Yeah, it's this is through, you know, like bilateral, you know, conventions or the international conventions, but you know, Saudi is working in all levels through, you know, like with the Muslim world is through OIC, with the GCC country with the, you know, GCC Council, and you
Within
know,
Saudi itself, how is it being done, Mr. Wajdi?
Say again?
Between in Saudi Arabia itself, for example, between the provincial authority, you know, you have the different enforcement agencies, you know, you have the different police force, the different secret services. How do you do it? How do you deal with it?
I think it's, you know, the CITC, you know, they control this, and they are hub for like you know, central for you know, this especially while, you know, decision makers. If I back again to Brother Zabri, you know, the information, it's very important, and for transparency for the international community, that increase the rank of the country and increase the rank of the trustee between, you know, the business for the other country. That's why it's very important to announce and your incidents
Correct.
clearly and all of it. And that's the important things, because Saudi Arabia is looking for, it's like a huge business, especially now in moving to sober digital transformation, through the Vision 2030.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Parak, any last words on, of course, India is a huge country population-wise. You have so many states. Some have certain autonomy. So how do you deal with it?
We have the central agencies which are playing roles in this. Like we have different agencies. We have Directorate of Forensic Science Services that holds all the forensic laboratories in India. So interstate communication can be done easily through that body. We have the Central Bureau of Investigation, we have Intelligence Bureau, we have Enforcement Directorate. So we do not have such challenges for interstate communication and interstate information exchange as far as the internal matters are there. So we have well established structure and hierarchy.
Even within the different federal agencies also, you don't have much issues? The
No.
ministries or enforcement agencies?
No, their roles are fixed. Like it depends on the type of crime. The crime is assigned to that particular agency, and then they coordinate internally.
Okay.
National
Thank you.
Security Agency is there.
Yes, we have
Of
national
course.
security
umbrella.
for critical
They come out of
infrastructure.
that,
Also,
especially the National Security Agency.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I always ask this question because you have, the main committee, but then lower down there you have this small kingship that manage their own territory kind of thing. Anyhow, the time is not on our side. It's already 5 o'clock. I think because we are enjoying the talk, the time flies. I would like to thank all the panelists. To technologist Muhammad Zabri, of course, to Mr. Wajdi, our brother from Saudi Arabia, and our good friend also, Dr. Farah Rugani. Send my regards to all your colleagues. Have been a few years since I was there in your institution. Keep up the good work. It's a great institution. Again, if anybody who are listening, you want to learn any aspect of forensic, this is the only university that covers everything. So again, I would like to invite all our audience to show your big hands virtually using the emoji to thank all our panelists for their great contribution to our webinar today. And thank you very much to all of you. And on that note, I apologize if there are any shortcomings in our forum. In the conduct of our program this afternoon, I would like to again thank you all for listening and tuning in. We still have 269 people staying on board. Thank you to all of you for staying on. And on that note, I'll pass back to our two Sheikh Faisal and Ahmad Faisal. Back to both of you. Thank you very much.
Terima kasih yang berbahagia Prof. Datuk dan semua ahli panel.
Thank you yang berbahagia Profesor Datuk and all the panelists.
Sesi kita diteruskan dengan persembahan montaj dan pelancaran Book of Chapter Digital Forensic in the Era of Industrial Revolution 4.0.
Our next session will be a presentation of a video montage and the launch of the Book of Chapters Digital Forensic in the Era of Industrial Revolution 4.0.
Untuk makluman semua, Book of Chapter ini merupakan salah satu platform perkongsian ilmu melalui penulisan ilmiah sama ada daripada pihak akademik maupun pihak industri. Diharapkan perkongsian ilmu daripada Book of Chapter ini dapat membantu meningkatkan lagi cabang-cabang ilmuan di dalam bidang digital forensik dan keselamatan cyber.
Ladies and gentlemen, this Book of Chapters is one of the platforms where academicians and industrial practitioners can provide knowledge sharing through scholarly writing. It is hoped that knowledge sharing through this Book of Chapters will help to expand knowledge and professional skills in the field of digital forensics and cybersecurity.
Sebelum kita menonton pelancaran montaj, mohon kerjasama semua peserta untuk mengisi borang maklum balas seperti yang tertera di ruangan chat. Sijil pernyataan bolehlah dimuat turun sehari selepas webinar ini berakhir. Hadirin dan hadirat sekalian, dengan ini saya mempersilakan semua untuk menonton montaj pelancaran Book of Chapter Digital Forensic in the era of Industrial Revolution 4.0.
Before we watch the montage, we would like to ask all participants to fill out the feedback form as shown in the chat room. For your information, the certificate of participation can be downloaded tomorrow after this webinar. Now, we would like to invite everyone to watch the video montage for the launch of Book of Chapters, Digital Forensic in the Era of Industrial Revolution 4.0.
Terima kasih. Dengan berakhirnya montaj pelancaran Book of Chapter ini, maka berakhirlah webinar dan forum Global Digital Forensic Challenges in the New Norm 2021. Kami ingin mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada semua peserta yang hadir di dalam menjayakan webinar ini. InsyaAllah, sekiranya diizinkan oleh Allah, kita akan jumpa lagi di dalam sesi webinar yang lain pada tahun hadapan.
Thank you. That's the end of the montage, and we hereby would like to officially announce the end of our webinar and forum on global digital forensic challenges in the new norm 2021. We would like to thank all participants who have joined and making this webinar successful. By the will of Allah, we will meet again next year, insyaAllah.
Bunga dedap di atas para, anak dusun pasang pelita. Kalau tersilap, tutur bicara. Jemari disusun, maaf dipinta. Sekian, terima kasih.
Coral flowers decorated on the shelf. Village children lighting up the lamps. For any mispronounced during the event, we would like to sincerely ask for forgiveness. Thank you.
Mohon kerjasama semua peserta untuk aktifkan kamera bagi sesi bergambar.
Now we would like to request all participants to activate the video for a photography session.
I can see Rashidi, our alumni, on the beach. Can see quite a number of our alumni actually. Thank you for joining in.
Mohon kerjasama peserta untuk mengekalkan lagi kamera bagi tujuan sesi bergambar.
Yang tak buka video lah.
Mohon juga kerjasama para peserta untuk mengisi borang maklum balas yang tertera di laman chat.
Quite a number of pages to go with 200 still participants.
Ya, mohon kerjasama peserta masih lagi menggerakkan kamera mereka.
Dan terus senyum. Continue smiling.
Boleh. Ya, teruskan senyum.
Brother Wajdi, switch on your camera.
Are we done?
Masih belum lagi. Mohon kerjasama. Terlalu banyak.
Sambil tu, just while we are taking pictures, then we'll ask, how many of you has an antivirus on your handphone? Hands up.
Tak ada bilang.
No,
Nak
no
senyum.
hands. Senyum je.
All using iPhone, I guess.
Well, you still need, well, no, the antivirus, regardless of the platform. Are we there yet?
Rasa dah okey kot sebab ramai yang tak buka ni.
Oh, okay, I think we're done. Okay, pass back to you, Pak Fazal.
Terima kasih kepada semua atas kerjasama yang diberikan. InsyaAllah kita akan jumpa lagi pada webinar pada yang lain pada tahun hadapan. Terima kasih atas kerjasama. InsyaAllah kita akan jumpa lagi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you all for your support. Hope to see you again next time. Thank you.
Take care, stay safe.
Everyone, Assalamualaikum. Good day.
Assalamualaikum. Thank you. Take care.
Thank
Stay safe.
you.
Thank you. Thank you semua.
Thank you, Echa, for joining. Pak Nanom, terima kasih for your support.
Sama Datuk.
So I already share the screen right now.
Program negara ni tu.
Anyone have
Itu tadi for us Malaysia need to crack back our ni reporting neuro.
Kan.
Lawat
Kena
Anum lah, lama tak lawat.
kena mirip-mirip macam SPRM-nya tu. Tak lapor pun salah, tak pergi kerjasama pun salah. Macam tu.
SPRM pun ada kan tadi?
Ada but that one is mainly for ni, not for cybercrime. SPRM has already their own act to cover their investigation, tapi in general for cybercrime kita tak ada.
Nanti next boleh masukkan lawyer sekali lah. Lawyer forensik. Geng-geng lama-lama tak jumpa.
Still the same player Cik Nom ni.
Ya, tapi saya di AGC sebelum tu di Mampu lah tu.
Yeah. So but hopefully the newer generation will back us up lah, tu sajalah. I think a lot are coming up. Hopefully the newer generation will pick up the pattern lah.
Industri akan bantu. Akan sokong, menyokong.
Yeah, that's why the collaborative nature, we need to have a healthy platform to interact lah, I guess that's the right word lah.
Cuma we get the info last 2 days from Dr. Osman. So saya tak dapat nak distribute. Only few agencies yang sempat saya share.
Tapi ni pun alhamdulillah we have the reps from almost all. Kita even for audit negara, saya pun lupa nak sebut tadi, a lot of the internal auditors for most of universities tadi ada join kita. So I think everybody realised that they need to cut cross the border territorial in terms of these cybercrime issues and forensic investigation lah.
Yalah. Sebab kita ada cyber security, satu from university punya memang nampaknya UTM dah yang memonopoli yang mendahuluinya ni, alhamdulillah.
We have to shoulder dia cakap dengan Melaka, kita cakap saya Melaka lah, di sini segalanya bermula.
Ya. Dulu don't play with Melaka kan, sekarang dah tak boleh lah
Datuk, it's good to have UTM dengan program negara. I think that kalau kita boleh ada satu forum ke something tu.
I think it's about time kita alhamdulillah a lot of our laws are actually up to date, tapi dia macam saya kata lah, the yang bertindan bila dia bertindan tu, there are some grey area that falls into no man's land.
Oh, okay.
And definitely I think we can call in some of the enforcement agencies, and of course academia are ever willing to help for us to come in and give input. Actually, what are the refinements so that macam dia macam passing baton tau. Tiba-tiba nanti baton tu jatuh, nobody pick it up.
Yes, sebab tahu siapa kan? Siapa
yes, I give you example yang macam TSW sebut tadi, katalah cyberbully. Okay. Of course, the schools has its own mechanism, the university has its own mechanism, but once it's crossed certain law, katalah dia masuk kes ugutan ataupun katalah dia masuk harassment, so macam mana dia punya passing baton tu, how it started, because everything nowadays of course is in the phone, dalam bentuk digital form. So that's why where the school stops, where the police come in, or where the cyber security comes in. Macam dalam cases yang bunuh diri tu kan, terjun tu, it start off with cyberbullying, tapi it end up with a death.
Yelah, faham. Nanti kita usahakanlah, maksudnya kan. Boleh-boleh tu. Dan insyaAllah. Dah termasuk law dah.
Tak keluar AJC, so adalah maknya orang kenang. Sumbangan kepada negara.
InsyaAllah kan. InsyaAllah cuba kan. Boleh tu. Jalinan kerjasama kan. Tapi dia ada memang enforcement yang lain pun sekali lah kena masuk sekali kan.
Of course. This cut, as I said earlier, it cuts across all the enforcement agencies, you know. Where custom stop, where MITI starts, where kind of thing. Memang dia banyak sangat yang terlibat lah. Itu sajalah yang saya nampak.
Yelah. Pagi ni bangga lah tengok
Saya sampai ada trend songkok hari ni.
we
Sampai tanya Dr. Asmat ni.
we went through a long discussion whether it's all in English or we maintain. But just to tell you lah, I insisted on all of them kata kita orang Melaka. So this is where everything starts. Okay, even though kita universiti technical, we are the bastion, the custodian of the public university in Melaka. So itu yang MC kena cakap Melayu juga.
Yelah, saya ada pantun translation tu. Wah. Dahsyat orang Melaka kan. Saya terkejut pun boleh tengok Dr. Faizal bersongkok semua dengan baju Melayu ni kan. Saya kata alhamdulillah lah.
Mana dia ada proverb dia orang Melaka yang biasa kita cakap lah, tak boleh buat semua, jangan tinggal semua. Jangan ingat dia untuk pakai baju Melayu, jangan baju je Melayu tu, seluar tu samping pun tak ada.
Yelah, sebab dekat rumah siapa kan tak nampak.
Dekat ni sebab nampak sekat aja.
Dekat skrin cantik je semua
Kalau kat rumah dah pakai keplekat dah ni.
Itulah pasal. Saya nampak alhamdulillah lah, nampak cantik je. Alhamdulillah.
But thank you for your support a lot. We really appreciate it very much. Alhamdulillah, we had our friends also from OIC countries who are with us. We really appreciate the support. I think we should have more activities like this online because there's no barrier with regard to accessibility. But the only main issues actually is the time difference lah. Because tadi like Dr. Dr. Parak tadi, it cuts across his lunch time. So I don't know how he managed to get something to eat. And of course, Mr. Wajidi was in Saudi. We were still in the morning just now. But if we had friends over in the American continent, they will be in trouble because they will be, very odd hours. That's the main challenge that we face during this COVID time. Of course, we had some students also. So that should be okay. All right, I think we should close down the shop, I guess. We still have 58 people not logging out.
Tambah lagi ni kan, still waiting kan.
Yeah.
Dia tambah masa next time Datuk.
Yeah, I thought because of the time difference, that's the key challenge. We wanted to have in the morning. It's not convenient in the Middle East. We can have it later in the evening. It's not convenient for us.
Yeah, okay.
As the host, so that's why we end up in the afternoon session, which is so short in terms of our time. Ini pun dah pukul 5, a lot of our friends dah nak balik lah, those yang in office lah. But those who are still working from home, they don't have much issues. Okay, Toke boleh tutup kedai. Thank you all for staying on.
Terima kasih semua.
Thank you. Thank you to you TEM teams and all the support that we are having from all other departments as well.
Okay, terima kasih semua for your cooperation.
Terima kasih semua.
Okay.